calling to order. May we have a roll call, please, Madam
Chair
Secretary?
LaFaro.
Present.
Vice Chair Finnerty.
Present.
Chair, the Secretary is here. Board Member Mutu.
Present.
Board Member Neely.
Present.
Board Member Catalinato.
Present.
And Board Member Fulham.
Present.
We have a full
Full,
quorum.
a full board.
Full board.
Please join in for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And I think we have lots of minutes.
Yes, we have a plethora of minutes.
And we are up to date.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Gloria and Claire.
Yay.
Would you like me to list them?
Go shoot.
The November 10th special meeting, the November 10th regular meeting, November 17th, regular meeting, December 8th, regular meeting, December 15th, regular meeting, January 11th special meeting, and the January 12th special meeting.
Impressive.
Yes. Claire and I have been working very hard for the
Yeah.
past
That's
2
been
weeks.
A+.
Motion to accept all those approved minutes by Kate, second by Dennis, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor. Okay, number 1 is off the agenda.
Did you do a roll call? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right.
Did you?
We did do
Yeah,
it.
we did.
Yes, everybody is here.
Yeah.
So we're going to, just let me tell you what's off, and then we're going to take Claire's applications. Number 1 is off the agenda, number 7 is off, and number 8 is off. So Claire, we're going to go to
I think 12.
item number 12, Butter
Yes,
Lane.
and that's page 50.
Okay, number 12, which is page 50 in the packet.
Page 50 in the packet. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. So just to give you a little bit of background here, this is a subdivision located in Bridgehampton off of Butter Lane. This is an ag reserve. There's an easement on the property. And there's an application for a covenant amendment submitted by the applicant and the representatives here. We have basic information to schedule a public hearing for a covenant amendment. The covenant amendment, the purpose of it is to amend the location of where the ag buildings would go in the future. Right currently, and I think I have a plan.
Can you pull that mic over a little bit?
Oh, sure. Is that better? Great. So currently, that is the limit of the ag reserve, ag structures as determined by the World Peace subdivision back in the mid-90s. The proposal is to relocate it in this square footage, but to the center of the property, and that is the plan that's been submitted by the applicants. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. So my recommendation would be to have a public hearing on this application.
Okay.
this
What date are you looking
consideration.
at, Claire?
I'm saying March 23rd. I think we got a couple on March 9th already, so I wanted to keep it clean.
Okay.
And the applicant's representative is here if you want to ask
You're
any
around
questions.
March 23rd, John?
I'll make sure.
Okay.
Just for a couple seconds, and then I'll let you go, 'cause-
Do you
You
mind?
have
Do you
to-
mind?
Oh, yeah,
Coming
sure.
up either there or
Come and
the
sit at
podium?
the table.
It's fine. We're before the zoning board of appeals for some relief from the setbacks there.
Just
And-
identify yourself, John.
Oh,
too,
John
sorry.
Bennett, I'm so sorry, I apologize. Thank you for presumptuous, for the applicant. And there were a couple of neighbors that didn't want it where it was. And I'll present all this at the public hearing. So, one of the things when you're with zoning board of appeals, you have to demonstrate you tried some other way to get the location without asking for the relief. So this is what we're trying to do. It seems to make sense to put it in the center. There's some people that in the west that want it in the center. There are people in the south that want it in the center.
Always.
Some people wanted it further east. I imagine what's going to happen is what typically happens in these applications. the people on this side are gonna want it here, and the people on this side are gonna want it there.
John, can you be more
Just human
specific about
nature.
what it is?
It's the area for
For a barn.
for agricultural.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that?
I'm sorry, I thought Claire
Yeah.
explained that.
A
I'm
building
sorry.
envelope for where you.
Building envelope for agricultural structures.
Right.
So we'll have that play
Right.
out, and you'll make the determination. We're just trying to, I guess the easy way to say it is to spread the pain, so to speak, to the extent that people think having a barn next to them is pain. So, anyway.
John, you're before the ZBA also for the 9.5 acre versus also the 10 acres?
Yeah, but they want to see what
Right, yeah, no,
you
I
folks are going to do, because it may obviate the need for some of the relief. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what happens. We'll listen to the people at the public hearing. Anticipate a spirited public hearing.
March
Can you
23rd.
describe the?
Well said.
Excuse me?
Can you describe, there's a lot of actions happening. Could you describe the overall outcome that the applicant's seeking to put a barn? And what other structures are there? And then how's the
Yeah.
property going to be used?
Well, it's currently used as it's an agricultural reserve. It's currently has a very extensive apple orchard there, which is bona fide agriculture. He wants to have some limited areas for livestock or animals, both of which would be totally consistent with ag reserves. I'm just gonna say, I'm always fascinated when people buy next to ag reserves and then somebody wants to do agriculture, and I'm like, and that's what we see
They
happening.
probably have advisory covenants on their lots.
Yeah, they're advisory covenants on our lots. And most of the advisory covenants say things like, there's gonna be potatoes, dust, lots of insecticides, fungicides and everything. So this is apple tree farming and a handful of animals. So, but in any event, no
Okay.
one can ever make everyone happy. We'll see.
We'll hear everybody out March 23rd. Have a motion to accept.
Motion.
Might as well get the first shot in.
Motion by Gloria, second by
I'll take
Kate, all in favor?
Thanks.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay,
My next item is item number 17, which is page 70.
Ocean View Park.
Yeah, we had a discussion at the last meeting, and in this case, I was just trying to refine the language for this. This is the.
What page is that in the packet,
70.
Claire?
Page 70. That's the resolution.
This was abandoning the part of
The
the road.
access, and then it would be the abandonment of the road. So the access between 7 and 8, it was determined it was not necessary because there's an alternate route, and most likely, and all the land to the south is going to be town or county land in the future. So I've written this resolution that just refers to that it could be fully abandoned in the road review.
You have all those funny numbers in here?
All the funny numbers.
You have a 70 and I don't.
So Claire, do you have to redo this map now? Does the town have to redo this profile map?
You are amending it just by reference of this resolution.
Okay,
That's
and that
sufficient.
gets lodged somewhere, so.
Yes, it'll be right in the file, and there will be a reference to it.
Is
Yeah.
this part of the application, Claire?
Yep, yep.
Okay,
So
'cause-
that's between 7 and 8 is that access that's being abandoned because none of those lots to the south are being developed. There'll all be open space in the future,
But
so.
isn't this part 3?
Nope, it's part 4 and 5. Yeah.
So the top part.
Top part says 1 and 2, so that's
Oh, does the resolution?
Uh,
Oh, sorry about
the
that.
heading on that.
It's 4
Okay.
and 5. I'm gonna amend that part.
Okay.
That's what-
Okay.
we'll
There's
call that
so
a-
many, there's so many.
What's that called,
of them.
a scrivener's error?
Yes, 4 and
Yeah,
5,
4
sorry.
and 5.
It's section, I'm sorry,
Okay.
section 1 and 2, parts,
4 and 5.
part 4 and 5.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
sorry,
So
but I would
say that
clarify
section
that.
1 and 2,
Yeah,
parts
I'll
4
make
and
sure it's
5.
consistent with the two of them.
Right.
Yeah. Not a problem.
Right.
So
I'll
your
move it.
consideration.
Okay, any other questions? Motion by Dennis, second by
Second.
Gloria, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? 7 in favor.
And the last item on the agenda is 77, which is that resolution that we considered and went over
Oh, the
last
town board
meeting.
resolution 19, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the one about the recommendation to the town board for, and recommendation for an investigation on the intersection. And
Yeah,
I think I got your, the language you mentioned in here. specifically to endeavor to have the intersection reviewed, reviewed with respect to safety, adequate capacity, LOS, site distance, and number of accidents, and investigating possible safety upgrades which may address the additional traffic which occurs along both major roads in this hamlet.
Tom and George, does that include everything, or do you want
I
anything
would
more
put-
added?
Maybe move the comma, because I think I'd put LOS with sight distance, line of sight.
Oh, I thought that was level of service.
Oh, I was
Is
looking,
level-
I would thought you were abbreviating, okay,
Your level, so
yes,
I thought it
okay,
meant
there you go. I
level
thought it
service.
was, okay, we're good.
Okay.
I think
That's,
Okay.
okay.
That's why sometimes acronyms don't work.
No,
Right.
Write
know
the
what?
words out.
I'll put level of service in there. How's that sound?
and I think you also just have a duplication of some words in the second line of the second whereas.
Oh, yes.
Town of Southampton never to have the intersection.
have the
Or
intersection.
have the intersection on
Right.
Yeah.
twice.
I
Right.
have that twice. I'm gonna delete the second part.
And then back now.
Great.
Yep.
For your consideration.
That's it? Tom, George, that's it?
Sounds good.
Okay, motion to accept
motion.
as revised by Kate, second by Craig, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor. That's it for you, Claire? Oh, you have the
I
walk-on
just have the
sign.
walk-on, Sabonic Golf Club, we're signing the maps.
And they've been signed.
Great,
All
thank you
right.
so much.
All right, so
Appreciate your
acknowledging
help
that.
with my
Thanks, Claire.
scheduling.
All right, thank you.
the last time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Claire.
Thanks.
Claire, do you have the packet actually with the numbers?
Only my numbers, I cheated.
Is that this better way?
Only
I
my
can
I'm
help.
preemptively apologizing to the board. I got copies of flags. No, I don't have. Okay, that's fine.
Packet page 12, number 2, item number 2. This will be a new role, you know, the packet caller. It'll be a-
Anthony,
Like bingo.
Captain?
Yep, so,
What
Captain
is it, Kate?
LLC,
What number?
Randy's here.
Number 12 in the packet, page 12, I mean, number 2.
Thank you so much for that, Kate. I really appreciate
Page
that.
12?
Page 12.
Page 12.
12 in the packet.
All right.
And I have copies
She's
of
blonde, but
resolutions.
she's sharp.
It'll also be up there.
It's also, it's here.
Okay. So we have a two-lot subdivision. This is 8 Vale Avenue. This is in East Quogue. It's R20 zoning. And, you know, they're looking at a two-lot subdivision. There's an existing residence that would be demolished as part of this application. It doesn't look like it's any overlay districts, as you can see from the map. Again, one lot in the front and one lot in the back, and a common driveway to serve both properties. As you can see from the aerial, not much in the way of woods here, a little bit in the back.
God, that's totally devoid of
Yeah.
vegetation.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, we're not an area that, this area's been built out for years, but yeah, it's not APOD or anything like that, but just wanted to give you a sense of what was
You getting
there.
any buffers in there?
Let's see, I'll go through my resolution, see what we
Okay.
said, actually. I don't remember this one. So, let me just go to the, some of the findings here. It's a type 2 action under SECRA, so no further environmental review was required. The final application was deemed complete in February of, I think I have the date wrong here. Oh, no, it was, I have the date wrong. I don't remember when we deemed this complete, but it wasn't in February of 2022. And we had a 30-day written comment period with no final hearing. We didn't receive any comments. The original pre-app report for this was adopted in November 20th of 2020, and the map is in substantial agreement. The Zoning Board of Appeals granted relief for this subdivision by approval in November 7th, 2019. Health Department approval October 7th of 2022. The project is not subject to the Long Island Workforce Housing Act, and in this case, we would take a payment for the park fee. Pretty straightforward.
What was the ZBA relief?
The ZBA relief was for, help me out here, Randy, it was lot width, I
Put
believe.
me on the spot like that. It's been a couple of years now. I think it was the,
Here, I can probably look at the map. Yep,
Randall White wrote 436A Montauk Highway,
Flagpole.
Squad.
yeah,
I think it was the
16%.
flagpole relief.
flagpole relief.
it's 16 feet. And what we did was, like we do in so many other cases, we put the 16-foot flag, and then we added the 4 feet on the property to make up a full 20 feet to have an easement area
That's good.
for a driveway and for utilities, and for firefighting purposes, obviously, so. So that's what the relief was for. Where was I? We received comments from the town engineer, few comments in there which have been incorporated into the approval, some minor mapping changes, some fees, nothing out of the ordinary, 3-inch rainfall. The Conservation Board provided comments. It's not subject to the wetland setbacks. They noted that requiring the IA system, but that is a requirement now, and actually the Health Department approval, you'll see it references the IA system right on the map. They noted some clearing that predates the 60s, so they talked about possibly establishing the northwesterly southerly lot lines buffers. And they indicate some street trees along Vale Avenue that proposing, which is great. We're happy with that. They're just recommending a different species other than chestnut. So we got comments from the Office of Fire Prevention, which said there's public water, no other requirements. And we didn't receive comments from the other agencies. So resolution to approve, subject to some map revisions, requirements of the town engineer. A statement regarding the zoning compliance. When you have a zoning board of appeals decision, you reference compliance with zoning based on that approval. So that's what that note is for. And C, I just highlighted it. Eliminate the use of the chestnut and provide the exact species proposed trees, inclusive of the common scientific name. I don't have anything specific, to be quite honest. That's why I sort of left it there, if the board had anything.
We'll get a recommendation from,
I could certainly ask Teresa what she thinks would be okay there, and just tell them to put it in there.
Could we put it in the covenants and not on the map? I think it's better suited in the covenants.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, actually. The county doesn't like a lot of things on the map anyway that have
Right.
nothing to do with the creation of the lot. So we will put a covenant in there that would work for me, I think.
for the street trees.
Yeah. Number 2, town engineer approval and signature of the common driveway plans. Payment of the park fee, $2,500. In this case, there's an existing residence for which there was a CO, so then they get charged for that first lot. Covenants and restrictions, no further subdivision, no lot line changes, no new utility poles for proposed lot 1, and underground utilities for proposed lot 1. That's the lot in the back, that's how it was labeled. The existing lot in the front has existing utilities, so. Clearing grading of the driveway prior to conveyance of the lots, or issuance of building permits, construction of the common utilities for lots 1 and 2 prior to the conveyance of the lots or issuance of the building permits, whichever comes first, and then construction of the common driveway for lots 1 and 2 prior to the issuance of any COs. And then we'll put an 11th one in there that says the street trees associated with lot 2 shall be a different species other than and I'll outline the requirements.
Anthony, would you want to, would it make sense to combine 8 and 9 on the covenants?
Sure.
Yeah. that'd be-
That's good. Just bear with me 1 second. I have mine here. We'll do that, 8 and 9, and street trees.
What about the Conservation Board's recommendation that there are some large trees along the northwesterly and southeasterly lot lines that should be surveyed and preserved to the maximum extent possible?
You know,
Do you know
unless
whether-
we're doing clearing restrictions across the board or certain things, as a general rule of thumb, when you have a map, the building envelope's looking like this, here's a building envelope, here's a building envelope, these are, do you want to identify trees within properties for which no clearing restrictions are going to be applied?
They're not coming down, though. We talked about this today with the client, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not many trees on the property.
Is there?
He'd like them all.
There's nothing in the back of the property.
No.
It's all, most of that's all gone. So,
Well, it doesn't hurt to put it in, Anthony. I mean, we're trying to promote trees greenery,
We can make a note in the covenants to
Yeah.
use best practices to preserve existing large growth trees. That's fine.
Well said.
Good way to put
Thank
it.
you.
Haven't heard that today, so that's nice to hear.
So I'll put a statement in there that on lots 1 and 2, the applicant shall, in accordance with the Conservation Board's recommendations, employ the best practices to preserve the substantial trees on the property to the maximum extent possible.
Sure.
How's
Good.
that?
That's good.
Okay. And then let me just go back here. Removal of the existing structures prior to the signature of the final map, compliance with the driveway standards, submission of the common driveway and utility easement, mortgage consent if applicable, title certification, town attorney approval of the documents, and then submission of the 4 Mylars and 10 paper prints for signature, and then the recording of the map within 62 days of that signature.
There's town water there?
Yes, oh yeah.
Anything more from the board? Randy, anything
No.
more?
No.
Okay, a motion to approve as amended by Dennis, second by George, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 7 in favor. Thank you.
Randy's got the next one too, so.
Pad construction,
Page 19.
thank you.
19.
Nicely done.
That's very helpful.
I mean, it's the least I can do.
So pad construction, we have another 2-lot subdivision. This is in Hampton Bays. This is on North
Do you
Jones
have-
Road.
Do you have a report? There's nothing in here. Nothing in the packet, but a map.
Well, the maps and the aerial should have been in the packet.
Yeah, the aerial is in the packet.
Okay, yeah, this was one of the 2 resolutions that I sent to you after the packet went out. And I do have copies of it here. So up in the, so this is North Jones Road, just right off West Montauk Highway. It's the R20 zone. It doesn't look like it's in any other overlay districts. It's another 2-lot subdivision. This property does have woods on there.
Excuse me, you have the reports? You have them?
I have the, yeah. Similar situation to the one previously. We have a 2-lot subdivision. Again, it's going to be a common driveway. They did require relief from the flag strip requirement. And similar to the last one, we will make up the 4 feet on the property for the balance of the 20 feet, 20-foot wide common driveway and utility easement. Obviously, the driveway would just be located within that 16 feet. So this one, you'll see that there are buffers here. They don't coincide with what the Conservation Board recommended, but they are consistent with, and I thought that this was not my project, I took this one over. They're consistent with the pre-app report that was adopted by the Planning Board, so I'll explain that when we get to it. So again, it's a 2-lot subdivision, Planning Board findings. It's a type 2 action under secret, so no further environmental review. The application was deemed complete October 17th. I've got my dates wrong in here. October 17th, 2022, and the hearing was held on November 10th, 2022, and no comments were received. I have to fix that date in there. My apologies. The original pre-app report was adopted in December of 2020, and the file application is in substantial conformance with said report. To that point, the Planning Board at the time had a discussion regarding the Conservation Board's recommendations for the buffers, and in the report, recommended, rather than the larger buffers, the 10 feet along this property line and the 20 feet in the rear here, as opposed to, I believe it was 25 and whatever, we'll see what it is, but whatever the Conservation Board recommended. But this is what the Planning Board asked for.
Do you have an aerial of that?
Yep. So there'll be 10 feet along here, and then back here as well. 25 feet back there, I should say.
Is that a commercial property next to it? Do you know what that is?
Let's see. Well, yeah, this is
Behind
the
it
highway
is,
here,
yeah.
so,
Oh, I see, okay.
yeah, so this is all HB adjacent to it. That was probably the reasoning behind the
Oh, that's
buffers.
Centro, right?
Yeah, oh, yes, I think you're right, actually.
Yeah.
So that was really the rationale behind these buffers in these particular cases, was to buffer from adjacent land uses. So December 20th, and you adopted the pre-app, consistent with Health Department approved this project on June 10th, 2022. Again, this subdivision is not subject to the Long Island Workforce Housing, and in this case, a proper case does not exist for a park, so the payment of the fee, which in this case will be $5,000. Conservation Board, engineer, provided some comments, and it looks like it's just a minimal amount of stuff here, covenant and some payment of fees. The one thing in here, and we've incorporated, by the way, the recommendations into the approval. We also included the Speedy's general permit covenant here. And when I get to it, I really should say, but I discussed this with the applicant. This is sort of unusual, only because the combined wouldn't net you an acre of clearing. And normally that's usually a requirement when you're clearing over an acre. That being said, Randy and I discussed it. Randy's willing to keep the covenant in there. I think I would just say is because this is a requirement that falls under the building permits. Usually if you're going to build a single family residence and you're subject to a SWIP and Speedies, they would require it. So I think we'll keep the covenant and just put in there as may be applicable or required by the town.
Right.
Because I don't know that there's a Speedies going to be required for this. I just don't think it meets the threshold. But because the applicant's not objecting to it, let's just keep it in there, if that's okay with the board. The Conservation Board providing the comments, there's no wetlands or anything like that. And again, they're recommending larger buffers. Instead of the 10, they're looking at 15 to 20, and then rather than 25, looking at 30 in the back. But I think the planning board had those discussions previously. And again, the long-eared bat, which we will incorporate into any covenant. Fire prevention, didn't have anything other than typical requirements for driveways, and there's water, public water and hydrants. Town Trails Advisory said there are no trail implications. So be resolved to approve the project subject to final map revisions. The title of the map should be changed. It should say Final Subdivision Map of Pad Construction North Jones Road. The requirements of the town engineer, a payment of the park fee of $5,000. D, a statement regarding a declaration of covenants and restrictions and common driveway utility easement, which is a notation on the map. E, notation regarding compliance with the town zoning as it pertains to the zoning board decision that was issued. And F, this is already on the map, I believe, right? Is that what we said? There was a note on the map?
It's not on the map, and I don't know, again, like we talked before, I think it should be in the covenant.
No, even better. I have no problem with the covenant.
Anthony, can you just go back to the park fee?
Sure.
There are no houses there, right?
No houses, no CO.
So this says 5,000 for the new residential lot. So it's for the two residential lots.
That's correct. Hold on, let me get to that so I can make sure I make that change, Jackie.
Is it a 3-lot subdivision?
Two.
It's a 2-lot subdivision, but there wasn't a house on this one previously,
No, it's
so now they get assessed for the 2
blank.
lots.
So, how does it work? Isn't one house given as of right? In other
If,
words,
I believe he raised this question
Yeah, I
with me
raised the same
today.
thing.
Dennis, I could double check it, but I'm pretty sure the way the code reads is that as long as that there was a CO issued for a single residence on that property prior to the subdivision. I will confirm though. Let me confirm because what's fair is fair.
yeah, you could just say if required.
If required, I could fix that actually.
We're gonna have a rush of people throwing up single-family houses before they come in for subdivision.
If you have a single family, a single lot putting up a house,
Yeah,
you don't
you're right about
you don't
that.
pay a park fee.
You don't pay a park fee.
Right.
Okay, so I'll fix that on that
Like it should be
actually, the
exempt.
board.
I thought there was one lot, but I could be wrong.
No, but definitely worth looking at again, for sure. Compliance with the town engineer's requirements prior to the signature of the final maps. Covenants and restrictions, again, no further subdivision, no lot line changes without planning board approval. Lot 2 is subject to a 4-foot wide driveway and utility easement. That's to compensate for the additional 4 feet that's needed to. Let's go take a look at the map real quick. Just bear with me.
Are you on the buffers?
I just want to double check something. Let me
So it's
rephrase
actually
this.
lot
Let me
one-
rephrase
lot
this.
one, right?
There is, this case, it's not a common driveway. You guys had the discussion, North Jones Road, you didn't think that a common driveway was necessary here. So my covenant is correct. There's a easement on lot 1 here that would allow for utilities to go to the back lot there. That's why that was done. To make sure that between the 16 feet on the driveway, they added the additional 4 feet for a total of 20 feet, but that was to allow for utilities to the back lot there, not a common driveway.
Anthony, silly question, is North Jones a town road?
North Jones is a town road.
Says
Oh, it's a private
private
road.
road.
It's
Oh,
a private
there
road,
we
yep.
go. So we're gonna have to do 288.
Yes, that's in the engineer's comments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Road, is that road review?
Road review.
Road review.
So that's why I put in there compliance with the engineer's requirements. And incidentally, by the way, when they go to get the building permit, that's, the first thing they do is make sure that you have your road review. So
It's
you got
almost-
double checking.
But it's funny, purchasers don't read the approval resolutions. They almost, would you have an objection to the advisory covenant or noticing prospective lot owners shall be subject to,
What do we have in the covenants? In the,
do you have it in the covenant?
It just says per engineers.
What in the covenants? That's what gets looked at
Yeah, but-
when,
So let's
Yeah.
put it in the covenants unless you don't have it in the covenants.
Oh, I could put in covenants. So what do you
Yeah.
want to say then, Dennis?
Road
That,
review.
Subject to the 280
right,
Yeah.
the 280 for the.
road review.
Yeah,
doing it
that's
the-
fine.
Right. It's funny, people look at these roads and they're paved and they got shoulders and everything, and say, oh, town road. And
Right.
lo and behold,
Perfect. So I will add that notation about the requirements. Each lot will be subject to the road
So
review.
go over 6 and 7 at the, I think,
I'm gonna get to those.
okay.
And then, again, no new utility poles for overhead for lots 1 and 2. And everything has to be installed underground for lots 1 and 2. There's no existing improvements here, that's a difference. 6, lot 1 is subject to a 10-foot wide natural buffer along the rear property line as shown. Hold on, I gotta go back to the map, make sure I got the property lines right. So lot 1 is subject to a 10-foot, I'll actually describe the property line. This is the northerly property line as shown on the map, not the rear property line.
Right, but it's applicable to lots 1 and 2.
It is applicable to lots 1 and 2, you are
Except that
correct.
lot 2 has the
No, we're gonna
deeper,
fix that right now. Just bear with me. Oh, there we go. So it'll be lots 1 and 2 are subject to a 10-foot wide, as shown on the map. And I'll,
on the side property, and
yeah,
then.
well, I'll describe the actual description of the property, northerly, whatever it is. Because that's
It
not,
says rear property line.
it says rear, that's not
It
correct.
should be side.
It will describe the northerly property boundary, and it'll say as shown on the map. Because I don't want to get into interpreting a side rear if the building department makes a different interpretation.
Exactly.
So then lot 2 is subject to the 25-foot wide. Again,
It's
it says-
also
As
subject,
well as the 10-foot.
As well as the 10, but we're going to put that in the one previously, yep.
so this is also subject.
Yes, it's all, and I'm gonna describe it instead of rear property line. 8 is just the requirement for compliance with the northern long-eared bat, if they're applicable. 3-inch rainfall requirement, retention of stormwater on site, and then again, this coverage of the speedies for the clearing if required by the town. That way it's in there and if it's required. The driveway and utility easement subject to review and approval by the town attorney prior to signature, compliance with the driveway standards, submission of the mortgage consent, title certification, a town attorney approval of all legal documents, submission of the 4 Mylars and 10 paper prints for signature, and then recording of those maps prior, within 62 days.
Can we see the overhead one more, the
Ariel?
Ariel?
Yeah, of course.
Are there any street trees along there? Any of those properties?
There's a certain amount of vegetation on North Jones. It ends at the, it's dead end, it ends at the railroad track, as you can see. I know the road.
Oh, you do, that's,
Yeah.
What's
That's
your
my
thoughts?
question to town road.
What's your thoughts?
So there's some,
I don't know it that well.
so there's some foliage.
You know, what's interesting, Jackie, and I don't say this lightly, but, you know, looking, because Jackie was reviewing this application previously, and the first thing I looked at to see was where the buffers were being required, and they didn't recommend any along the street there. So it's interesting, if you didn't have, this could be curious, because, you know, typically Jackie has those discussions.
Right, if we don't have a couple of street trees, we could do a 10-foot buffer in the front.
Does Jones have can you check on that? Do they have the full 50-foot right of way? It would be on the survey, the next,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. My eyes aren't that good. Would you know, Randy, is it a full 50-foot North Jones?
Is it full? I don't believe that it is. I'm looking at it now, and I'm looking at the surveys that I have. It's not depicted. I don't know, Dennis.
It's interesting, because when you look, Jackie, here, because the septic has been approved, right? And here now, this is where the septic is going, so we wouldn't want a buffer that's going to interrupt with that, because we have to give them the ability to take the stuff down to get to the
But
septic
more
system.
importantly, oftentimes we get a conditional offer on road frontage in case the town wants to come and take the road into the highway system.
True.
Do you have a tax map?
It should be,
Not show it on the tax map.
It should be listed on the survey, though. You sure they don't give dimensions on the survey either? Maybe not.
A lot of, yeah, I mean, when we did some work on private roads,
Yeah.
Oh,
hoping to upgrade them, a lot of them don't. They don't give you
One more
the
thing
width
here.
of
Wow.
They don't,
Road.
well, there has to be a map width existing. Like if it's 40 foot, you
Well, we'll
probably
take a
ask
look
for
right
a
now. See if I
10
can.
foot conditional offer.
yeah, you know, my experience is they would have to go out and survey to make sure they had the 50-foot right-of-way on these
Oh,
applications, you
yeah.
know, when they wanted to come into the town
But
road
wouldn't the
system.
surveyor pick that up on the survey?
Well, then they're
50,
measuring,
according to our historic maps here,
right, they're measuring
this
all the
private
way
road
across the
is
street.
said to be 50 feet.
50, okay, so they got the 50, okay. So you don't need a conditional offer then.
There you go.
So
We have
how
the
can we get
information
any-
somewhere here.
Can we get any greenery there?
You know, I think a 15-foot buffer, maybe.
Be nice.
Is that something the board would want to do?
I'd certainly
Subject
like
to,
to see
they would
it.
have to allow for the driveways to go
Yeah,
through.
there's always
Yes, sure.
language, sure, why not?
And the sanitary, depends how far.
Yeah, I wouldn't put in, can we do street trees or something like that to be approved by the building department or,
You want, I'll take street trees too.
Yeah.
Take something green in the
Yeah.
lot, you
Yeah.
know? There's nothing on this lot.
Who would you want making the call, the highway department or conservation, street trees? I'm thinking the highway department now. Street trees
Yeah.
or town engineer?
The
What do you
need
think,
for
George?
them?
It's a fully
or-
wooded lot.
Install too, instead of leaving.
Good, he's saying
fully
it's a
wooded
fully
lot.
wooded
So what if
lot.
we just maintained trees
Well, like
along
you
the
said
street?
before, yeah, to the extent
So
possible.
maintain a
with the
Yeah, I-
15-foot
septic, right?
natural
Well, I don't wanna put a number in there
vegetation
though, cause
buffer.
I don't know if that's gonna be conflicting with the health department.
Where's the survey again?
That's what we're supposed to do.
You also don't know the health of those trees in front.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, non-disturbance is
Yeah.
sort of self-explanatory, that whatever's there is there.
There, and you
Right,
maybe
that I
can
can't tell.
supplement
Right.
it.
Typically gotta be
But
10 feet.
I don't know about a
Or we can-
non-disturbance, what if the trees are awful or they're
I mean,
dead
if you
or
scale about 10 feet.
maybe
and
they
there's
wanna
not a
clean up and
boundary,
put nice trees
Oh,
in
there you
there?
go.
That looks like more, like, those sanitary systems are gonna be within 10 feet of
Yeah,
the
it
property.
looks-
Yeah, so I don't wanna
looks
put a
like
number
Limiting
there.
They're gonna
the-
dig
Yeah.
up the front yard because of the sanitary.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, Charles, about the microphone.
I don't think
But
it's
it
good
says
practice.
15 to 20-foot buffer. Maybe we say 20-foot
Wouldn't dig
buffer,
up that
and then
septic and get the
along
soil.
the back
You need to
was,
be careful.
Right.
right?
And that is-
Isn't there one earlier
Yeah.
that says 15
Well,
to
the
20?
conservation board is recommending that this was to be 15 to 20, and they wanted this one to be 30. That was their previous recommendation at the pre-application. The planning board adopted a pre-app report that recommended the
10
one
and
with 10
20.
and 25.
10.
Oh, I
20,
understand. Okay,
25.
sorry.
No, that's good.
Well,
You weren't here for that, so.
Some language
I
to,
think a
To
couple of
supply
street trees
something
would probably
green.
be.
So we'll put a condition in there that lot one, will put in street trees within the front of the property.
At the direction of.
I'm sure there's
the
language out there that you've used before regarding that.
Direction of either town engineer or who do
Anthony,
you want, that goes back to who do you want to make the
How far
call?
off the property line is that septic site?
Probably around 8 or 10 feet.
And they're gonna rip everything up to open up that area to put in the system.
Right.
So
Right.
we're arguing about,
But we're
a
talking about
buffer
street trees now.
Do you want to go Google Street View and we could see what's there?
I don't have to, we have it set up in our system already.
Yeah, it's in GIS.
So there's some
Yeah.
trees.
There you go.
That's, a lot of that's gonna be taken out though.
yeah, it's gonna be
Construction
demolished to put in the
access as well
septic.
as,
Yeah.
They're not gonna cut, they're not gonna work around
What's
that.
going on down the street on the left?
Yeah, they've got some foliage.
So we're talking about 2 street trees?
Yeah,
Okay.
just include that, Anthony.
Yeah.
2
you put-
street
put 'em-
trees.
Yeah.
Two?
Two street
I was gonna
trees.
say 2 to 3 street trees,
Yeah,
on the
Start-
lot.
What is it, 60 foot?
4.
50 feet.
Depends on, 50, depends on what you're really looking to accomplish.
Yeah.
So anywhere between 40 and 60 feet, so I think 2 to 3, to,
Well, we've gotta give them a number.
I'd say
It's
Do I hear
decision-
4? How about
It's decision time. What do you think, Randy, 2 or 3?
he's thinking-
2 to 3? What 2, 2, 3? That way, if
We'll do
3
three.
works,
How's that?
3,
you know.
okay.
We'll put in 3.
yeah,
Got a
yeah.
compliant attorney here. Go for 3.
I like trees. More
Doesn't
the better.
environmental get into recommendations on street trees?
When they do,
When I-
in this particular case, they did.
Yeah,
they're
'cause-
recommending
Because that front
certain
is gonna
trees.
get, that front is gonna get all
Yeah.
It's gonna get messed
wiped
up.
out.
It
yeah.
is. It's in-
You're right.
Anthony, what's the width of the lot?
Um,
103.
120, I think.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, but that
120.
includes, no.
No, that's a total. That's
Yeah,
the total for the whole
103.
thing.
Right.
Obviously, with the driveway here, it's gonna be less. So yeah, it's 103 and change. So that's what we'll do. I'll put that in there. I think
That'll
that
be
works.
about 80 feet, probably, without the driveway and,
So I'll add the statement in there, that, lot one will have, 3 street trees, planted within the front yard, at the direction, recommendations of the town engineer and or highway department at the time of construction activity,
Or you vote.
prior to the issuance of the CO.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other one.
Does that mean they have to salvage at least 3 trees, 3 native trees, or?
To be quite honest, we'll leave it
They'll
open,
put
because they
new
may
trees in.
blow out everything there.
Yeah.
That's Gloria was saying, she's looking at it, so they may blow out
I mean,
everything.
usually,
So basically what we're saying is you blow out everything, put in 3 street trees to.
Okay.
That are
that's-
not,
that's
that are
probably a
not gonna
pitch pine
grow
oak.
into the septic system.
That are not-
Don't put in a maple.
no
yeah,
willows.
that's probably a pitch pine.
No willows,
So
yeah.
you can't really salvage and replant those.
No, you can't.
Okay, did you finish this, Anthony?
Yeah.
Any other changes, Randy?
No,
Okay.
that's it.
Any other changes from the board? Motion to approve is amended.
Motion.
Motion by Gloria, second by Craig, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor.
Thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you, Randy.
Anthony Brown
Brown
Development Corp.
Development Corp.
Page 22.
Thank you, Kate.
How does you?
Yes,
have
your
a little-
resolution
My
is
resolution
here.
is in there?
Yes.
I refuse to
Congratulations.
believe it.
It's in here.
I have copies, should anybody need
It is
one.
a-
Thank you very much.
Kate's being proactive.
Okay, Brown Development, there we go. Another 2-lot subdivision. This one is in North Sea. This one is on Major's Path. It is in the R20 zoning district in the New York State Archaeological Sensitive Area. Again, it's a 2-lot subdivision. Property is 1.31 acres.
Nothing on there?
There's an existing residence and there's something else going on back here. So there are existing structures there, but let's see, this is another one I took over, by the way, so, let's see what the map shows. Yeah, so it looks like the existing structures are to be removed, obviously.
The house? Oh,
There was an existing residence, something on this property.
someone here representing them?
Yeah.
Daphne. Do you have existing residents, Daphne?
Yes.
Okay.
Daphne, you can sit here if you're more comfortable.
I'm fine over here, it's fine.
Okay, so there's an existing resident in mind, but it's a two-lot subdivision for two new single-family residents, so.
So the house will be torn down,
The house will be torn
demolished,
down.
and?
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, it's a type 2 action, no further environmental review is required. Nevertheless, a Phase 1A, 1B archaeological report was prepared and submitted dated October 2020, and no recommendations for any further study was recommended. We deemed this application complete September of 2020, September 22nd of 2022, and held a final hearing on November 10th, closed with a 10-day written comment period, and no comments were received. A pre-application for this was adopted on September 10th, 2020, and the final application is in agreement with that report. Health Department approved this in September 9th of 2022, subject to covenants and restrictions, whatever they were requiring. Again, it's not subject to the Long Island Workforce Housing, and again, we would take a payment of the park fee for the new lot in this case.
What is that park fee?
It's
25?
$2,500, yep. It should be in the resolution at the end. Engineer provide some comments here. Looks like there's some mapping changes, the 3-inch rainfall, the coverage of the speedies, and the SWIP in this case, which we did incorporate into the approval. So he recommended approval subject to these items, and these items obviously are conditions of our approval. The Conservation Board provided comments. They noted that there's a sizable block of native woods in the rear. I don't know if I would call it woods, but there's, there are some big trees back there.
Can we see the area while you're reading?
This, in the back of the property.
Mhm.
There are some trees dotted out here.
And we don't know what that round, circular, is that a
That's a storage barn, like it's really like an old storage building,
building?
and that's going to be taken down.
Okay,
So what you're doing is that you're looking basically back of this property.
It looks like there's something large, maybe commercial to, I'm gonna say the south.
This is the, that's the
It's like an oil.
oil, yeah.
company.
It's, what's the name of it? I forgot the company.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, maybe close.
Essay,
Oh,
North Seaboard.
yeah. So that's what's there, actually. So it is an industrial sort of use adjacent to that property.
so is that industrial property zoned?
No, it's pre-existing.
It's a pre-existing.
Pre-existing?
Yeah. Yep. I know they've inquired about that property before, so. Let me just see. Again, this is gonna be a common driveway serving both lots here. There was nothing in the pre-app report about any particular buffers, only because there's no natural vegetation. It's rare that the planning board recommends, aside from street trees, planting of buffering between, so I don't, in this particular case.
I would
But-
think they would want some kind of.
Yeah, I would imagine.
buffering between that and the commercial
Yep.
site.
There's some encroachments right now from the.
Can you identify yourself, please?
Oh, Daphne Vaughn, Surfside Environmental Planning, sorry. There are some encroachments from the oil company that we're proposing to remove that are shown on the map. Mostly, it's sort of driveway
Yeah.
stuff.
So when we get to that, we'll talk about seeing if there's something we want to do.
I would think that whoever is gonna build and eventually
We're
own,
gonna do something.
they're gonna
Would do
want
buffers,
a buffer.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree with that. Here, the town's Office of Fire Prevention is noting that there's not public water or hydrants within this area, so they are recommending that that be done.
You skipped over conservation.
Oh, I'm sorry, they had recommended, again, let's see, extend the rear storage building, yep, in the back of the property. So they are recommending, because there's evidence of birds and trees and all the rest of it, so they're recommending some type of buffer in the back of the property. Although they didn't get too specific here. Other than that, there wasn't much that came out of there, so we'll see what we want to do with that. Suffolk County Planning and Economic Development said this is a matter for local determination. Trails Advisory said there are no trail implications. Landmarks and Historic said there are no.
Can we go back to the fire prevention?
Yeah.
If there's no Suffolk County water, how do you put fire hydrants in? Why,
We have to install a water main.
Yeah,
okay.
they're recommending bringing in the water main and installing the fire hydrant.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
How far away is the
where
water
does
main?
where do you have to get it
It's on
from?
Roman Road, which is to the south, and that's part of the health department approval, that we need to bring in water from Roman Road up to the property. As far as the fire hydrant goes, I just had this happen on another subdivision. Technically, the fire hydrant is out of our control specifically. The Suffolk County Water Authority, when we give them money for the contract, will contact either the fire company or fire prevention to find out where the town specifically wants the fire hydrants, and they will install them, you know, in conjunction with the needs of the town. It has nothing to do with us specifically.
But you have to pay to bring the water in.
Yes.
Okay, that's.
So the closest hydrant is in that Roman Road?
I would imagine it's the closest one, yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say that, there could be some cisterns or something sitting up here that I'm not aware of, but as far as a public water hydrant, not on this road, so.
And the lot to the south, he says an oil company?
Yeah, it's some type of
Fuel oil.
fuel, yeah.
They have fuel oil trucks on the premises?
Yeah.
I don't know if,
With
is it
no-
functioning right now?
And no fire hydrant.
I don't think it's been functioning for a while.
Yeah.
I think they may have,
Abandoned their use?
yeah,
It's
or
not
defaulted on
non-operative?
loans or something. I don't know. My client is actually here, and he's been in and out of court trying to get the property, but I
The
don't,
property was sold in a foreclosure.
you'd have to come up here to talk, John.
Do you know if the adjoining properties, it looked like there was some residential in there, are they on wells?
They should be all on wells, as far as I know. This is John Brown.
Okay.
Here, yeah, look. I know where you go.
That's my first time I've ventured like this. Okay.
So I guess tell them about the adjacent property.
The property to the south is owned by SAIL, which was foreclosed on a year ago.
Okay.
Charles Remensburg, and somebody bought it. I didn't know at the time, but he's in cahoots with the guy that bought it.
Okay.
So I have issues with him because I live next door on the south side, 247. He wrecked my trees and fence there about a year ago with a snowplow, and he hasn't fixed it. So now I have to bring him to court. I have a pool fence beside
So,
my house, and he wrecked it with a snowplow. And he said
So that house.
he got a notice from the police department, was there 3 times, and he said, I don't care about the police.
so there's no business operating there, is what you're saying?
I don't see any aisle trucks in now there. What he's doing there is he's bringing in more renters there. Right now, about a month ago, I had the police over there. He brings in, you know, the garbage containers. He drops them there in the morning at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and then they come back to pick him up. And some mornings at 5 o'clock to come there, and they pick them up and they're scraping them along the ground. It's like
So they're dumpsters, the big,
no,
No.
he has about 20 rentals in there, and it's increasing by the day. So somewhere
Rentals
around,
as in
from
apartments?
what I'm told, he's like 40,000 a month in their rentals, because the oil company is not functioning right now. I don't see any oil trucks in now there,
Right.
and I try to work with him, but he doesn't care.
What-
I didn't know that he was in cahoots with the guy that bought it at the foreclosure.
John, what are those buildings that are there?
Pardon?
What are the buildings there?
He has an office there, and he has the oil storage, or the oil. He's a 20,000 gallon diesel tank there for he used to supply home heating oil.
I think he's got a pre-existing C of O.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a residential property. I don't think it's zoned for commercial. I'm not sure.
No, it's not, but it existed before zoning was
Yes.
initiated.
The SAs used to own that, and he took it off them.
to your point, that's why the health department is requiring that public water.
Yeah.
Well, they require public water for everything.
They require it for everything. I mean, even if you're really far away, they won't. But that's the thing, you gotta have public water here. We're not gonna go on well water,
Right.
you know?
So
Where
if
is
you have,
the
if you have, you have to have I had to buy land credits from the Pine Barrens.
Yeah.
And you have to that was part of the condition, you have to bring up the water main from Roman Road. Because I bought the 3 properties there, the one on the corner of Roman Road, I built a new house there, I live next door to that. And then his driveway,
Ariel, Anthony?
his driveway is next to the new property that I'm planning for the subdivision.
So the
those
main
two-
comes in at a single applicant's
I
expense?
live next to, his oil company is right behind where I live.
This is the house.
Yeah, I'm at 247, I live there.
Yep.
And I built the house on the corner of Roman
The
Road.
next one down.
And there was public water there, so I have to bring the water up now to,
From there to your new.
and I have to take it in my house because
Yeah,
they won't, that was the condition.
I think it's healthier.
Pardon?
It's probably healthier.
Yeah, I'm going to take it, yeah. I was hoping to get it done this summer.
All right, well, that helps us understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
So right now, as far as I know, I haven't seen the aisle truck, because I live, he's right behind me.
Yeah,
And it's another issue with him and the essays. He took the property off them and they never got paid for the property. And then he tried to stop me from building the house on the corner. And he threatened me actually with a gun. He pulled out a gun like
oh
this.
boy.
And he said that you don't know who you're dealing with. So I says, bring it on.
Well,
Well,
these
that's
are
my
issues outside of
information.
our purview.
I tried to deal with him
Colorful.
because I think he has 4 acres and there are 3.5 acres. And the police have been there so many times. He took one paper like this in front of me, he got from the code, and he tore it up in front of me. I don't recognize any of those people. So you can't deal with them.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm gonna continue though, so we gotta go here.
Thank
Gotta
you.
continue.
Fair
All
enough.
right, so final map revisions, the title of the map needs to change. They gotta get the addresses from the tax assessor's office.
I actually have those. I just neglected to have them put on the map.
No
so
problem.
We're good with that.
Town engineer, the requirements for the map changes per the town engineer. This is what I highlighted, this was the requirements for the fire hydrant. I just put it in there because that's what the Office of Fire Prevention says. That leaves it open though. Look, the reality is that applicants have gone back to fire department, to fire prevention, and worked out whatever needed to be done. So they're bringing in the public water, so that's good. And whatever the hydrant, wherever it goes, that's fine. $2,500 for the new residential lot being created that had a CO already for one. The notation regarding covenants and restrictions and the common driveway utility easement. Again, a notation regarding the zoning board in this case, because the zoning board did grant relief. What was it for again?
The lot width and the driveway
The
width.
driveway width, okay. Thank you. They should note that lots 1 and 2 are subject to a common driveway utility easement. And if it's on there already, then that's okay, but sometimes I miss some of the I put in here, this was the 20-foot buffer in the rear of the proposed lots to protect significant trees. That's, but this was just to sort of coincide with what the conservation board said.
good.
So if that's okay. It's outside the, frankly, these buffers are outside of the building envelopes anyway, so that's good. 2, compliance with the town engineer requirements regarding the SWIP and the speedies prior to signature of map. 3, compliance with the requirements of the Southampton Town Office of Fire Prevention. Again, that was a requirement for the public water, which is being done in the fire hydrant. The town engineer approval and signature of the common driveway plan. Submission of covenants and restrictions. Again, no further subdivision of any of the lots, no lot line changes without planning board approval. No new utility poles for lot 2, and everything has to be underground for lot 2, as the front lots already has its utilities there. Lot 2 is subject to a 25-foot wide natural buffer along the rear property line as shown in the approved map, which will then include a statement which says, which shall remain in its natural state. No clearing, grading, or ground disturbance. 3-inch rainfall for all future impervious surfaces, and then retention of the stormwater runoff on site. 8 talks about the speedies requirements. in this particular case, which I think is correct. 9 lots 1 and 2 are subject to a common driveway utility easement. And then 10, 11, and 12 are the covenants relating to the improvements of the utilities and the driveways prior to the issuance of any COs and building permits or conveyances. 6, applicant shall show and note the size of the proposed water mains and label location of blow-off valves as may be required by the water authority. And then 7, submission of the contract and proof of payment to the water authority for the installation of the water mains and hydrants as shown on the final plat. This was, I think this is what you were trying to get at before about with the fire hydrant, that's why I highlighted these. You know, it depends on what happens with the hydrant, right? So maybe we just keep the language the way it is. And if there's something that changes between what is required by the agency, then we could always amend the
I know in the one that I just did, it was a long water main that we had to do on that one. And what they did is we paid the contract fee and then they worked it out with, was the North Sea Fire Company, and they drew up the plans and they provided me a copy of the plan so I could give it to the surveyor, but I don't know, you know, as far as the timing goes for this, how quickly the water authority will be able to do this if we were to pay them, say, within the next month, how fast they'll be able to get the work scheduled, planned and scheduled, because they only do these things certain times of the year, to my knowledge. So I'm not sure if that will coincide with us being able to have all this plotted specifically. I'll have to talk to the water authority about that.
Well,
You will.
you submit, executed contract, and then we can sign the map.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
but the map wouldn't necessarily have the location of the fire hydrant, is what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah, well, they might be able to tell you that. I mean, if they're gonna come out and do field work, they would know that. Okay,
Yep, then removal of existing structures prior to the signature of the final map. Compliance with the driveway standards, submission of the common driveway and common utility easement, submission of a mortgage consent if applicable, title certification, town attorney approval of all legal documents, and then submission of 4 Mylars and 10 paper prints for the planning board to sign, and then filed within 62 days of that signature.
okay. Any other questions from the board? Anything more?
Yes. I wanted to know if it's at all possible, since my client has to demolish all of the existing structures, and since the wait time with the building department these days and the health department is so long, if he could seek the permission of this board to file for a building application for one of the homes on the property, because it's like a 4-month wait for the building department right now, plus with the health department, you're looking at probably a 6 to 8 month wait by the time he would be able to submit things and get it in, while we're coincidentally working on all of this completion of these covenants and final map revisions, et cetera.
I think you can get
I think we're
building
not,
permit now
Well,
without
so first to the demo.
demolition.
We'll get demo permits, who cares if the structures have to come down, we're telling them they have to come down,
Right.
so I don't have any issue with them getting demo permits. As it relates to a building permit for one of the lots, the only issue with that is the 2 lots don't exist, and so the town's records don't reflect 2 lots, and they won't.
it's too premature.
I think it's just gonna be a confusing thing for the building department, to be
Too
quite honest.
premature.
You know, what's gonna happen is that you'll submit it, and, well, they're gonna say, is there a pending subdivision application?
They're
And
also catching up.
They're also, yeah, I don't know that you could go ahead and do the demolition permits, I think. at this
Well,
point,
can I ask a question about that of council? Can we do that, even if he's in litigation with,
He's in litigation with us.
no, with an next door neighbor?
That has nothing to do with
It
us.
won't
but
affect it.
I would, what Anthony's saying, like the demo is one thing,
Right.
I wouldn't do the building.
No, I agree.
We gotta do that.
So a demolition, do we need a
You could do it, you could actually do it, you could approve this resolution, and then just do a second resolution authorizing the applicant to
Well, the
submit.
demolition
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
is consistent with the approval, so we,
Oh, that's true, we don't need to do a separate, you just can
Yeah.
adopt this approval, we already covered the
Okay.
demo in there.
okay.
That's right, Dennis.
Okay,
Straight
so,
through.
so you're cleared for the demolition, but not for
But
the,
not filing.
not for the filing of any kind of a site plan, because it's too premature. So, can I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Gloria and second by Dennis, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 7 in favor.
Before we move on, can I ask a question? And this might be a question for Christine. We spend a great deal of time reviewing these applications, and especially matters of safety, fire safety. In this case, we have a pre-existing use to the south. And it seems like they operate with impunity, without oversight. Are these pre-existing uses not subject to town review or fire safety or?
The
It's,
use is not, they still have to comply with fire and building and all the things that they need to comply with.
Mhm.
And not that I doubt what you're saying is true, but there's often another side to this, that what's going on perhaps behind the scenes is not necessarily known to all parties. So I don't know what's going on at that site in particular, I would have to find out.
yeah.
Could be code
And-
enforcement, could be police,
Mm.
You know,
a
if,
number.
if someone observes a code violation, then they can report that to,
Yes.
you know, code enforcement. If there are some of the issues that you brought up, you know, that would be the
When it comes to health
pathway.
and safety, you don't get like a pass from
Mhm.
prior to the state, you still have to
Yeah.
be compliant. with
Yeah, I
those.
mean, in this case, common sense dictates that storage of fuel trucks on a facility without a water main to accommodate a fire hydrant doesn't add
You
up.
said there was no fuel trucks.
There is
In the
fuel trucks
past.
that are parked up.
No, I
So-
think
I haven't
what
seen
Craig was saying was
operate
the
with
pre-existing
domestic
use,
Right, but the
when
use,
it was operating.
So,
mm,
But there's like probably 30 other trucks in
So,
there.
so
Residents.
just so
Okay.
you could, if you look at the screen, if you look at these things, flammable liquids from these various dates, somebody has been doing something to make sure this is going to the Office of Fire Prevention and to the, so the activity there is being monitored to some extent by the towns, because they have to apply for whatever permits are necessary for the storage or
Yeah.
work.
What are the dates on those?
They go back, well, first
Oh, the
thing
most
is
recent.
2021.
and this is shared with the fire department?
What is shared?
This-
It's a permit.
This is
It's
their,
a
they have all
permit.
Oh, that's,
access to,
that is,
this is all their activity.
okay.
Some of, not all their activity. This
Yeah.
is a glimpse at some of their
Yeah,
activity.
yeah, yeah. So you can see that,
They're
Does-
aware.
And that property, does that have access on Roman Road?
there is a little,
So it's possible he's got water, public water on that property too, we don't know.
could be. I wouldn't know, yeah, but could be.
Anyway,
Sorry,
Okay.
that just troubled me, that's all right.
No, That's a good question, thank
That's a
you.
good question.
Anthony, we don't have the Radswell.
No, I
one.
don't, I have that here, that was the other one that I did.
So is Radswell off?
no.
No,
No, it's on.
I have the red here.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Brian Latazio, right? Brian? I can't give you a copy, right?
Send me, email me a copy.
Okay, gotcha. So that's another one that I took over.
How are you, Brian?
I'm well, how are you today?
The board might recall, this was a lot line change application involving 4 lots off of Ocean Road
Ocean Road, yeah.
in Bridgehampton. You can see the lots as they currently exist up here. They're the subject of the application. One of the lots, I believe it's this one, is landlocked. So part of the lot line modification here was to address legal road frontage for this piece, and then reconfigure the lots, including this one, to make them all conforming in the R120
How
zone.
are they getting to the house now? Are they,
There's a deeded
There's a
right-of-way.
deed right of way. yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I thought they had a jump.
So then basically what the application did was reconfigure the lots. The front parcel here is this, the middle parcel. This parcel then becomes larger here, and this parcel in the back largely stays the same. But ultimately, no change to the number of building lots at the end of the day. And then each lot then would have its individual flag strip.
And
There's a-
Ocean Road is to the left.
That is correct.
So
That is
they're
correct.
all flag lots now.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, and they were before the zoning board because the lots, flag lot widths are not 20 feet. So that was why they were before the zoning board, if you recall, was sitting with them on that one as well. We didn't really care only because, and Brian has agreed, which wasn't in place before, a common driveway to serve all 4 lots. So
Exactly, I mean, why couldn't you have first 50 feet, common library, driveway, and then,
I mean,
Branch
that's
off.
what'll happen.
Yeah,
We're
'cause
agreeing
it-
to a common driveway.
yeah, because it looks,
As of now, there's one driveway, but there's only one improved parcel, so there was never a need for a common driveway per se, but we're gonna create the common driveway utility easement, so when the other lots are developed, it's established.
okay, so when you say there's one lot, that's the one in
There's
the
one
rear?
improved parcel.
Is
That
it the
was the
landlocked?
landlocked parcel.
Okay,
So that's what'll happen then. So now, positive that came out of this was that we'll actually get the common driveway, which wasn't in place previously for these lots.
what was happening on this land before? Was it being farmed?
It was partially being farmed. My clients purchased 2 of the lots from the neighbor that has a property on Ocean Road in, I want to say 2020. So they're kind of creating a family compound and they're reconfiguring the lots so they're all conform to the 120 zoning.
I went looking for this, I couldn't find it, it's because it sits
It's
way
hard,
back.
it's because it's like it's not a, there's a lot of construction on the road frontage lot. And then we just kind of have a small, not really developed driveway that services the house.
Oh, you just flipped it around, Anthony?
I'm just going to my GIS now, because I have access, then you can sort of see, these are lots of, I hate that they put the.
Oh, so there's construction on that front lot,
Correct,
Yeah.
yep.
and that's part of you?
That is not part of us,
No,
we
it's
purchased,
separate.
but that, you actually recently granted a lot line modification for that lot and what is lot 1 of my application. We purchased subject to that, transfer of land. So we purchased essentially a smaller lot, but
So this is 76, just so you could get a sense of what was going on in the 70s, and probably even,
What's that cross street, is it Paul's or?
that's
what-
Silver Lane to the north.
Silver,
And then,
to
the south,
is it?
is that Quimby Lane maybe?
Quimby, yeah.
And then
Quimby has that
Surfside
big
and all
curve
those.
in it,
Okay, there we are. I know where they are.
yeah,
Yeah, that's-
Quimby.
So the lot line configuration was just to reconfigure the lots. They're all conforming, no increase in density, a common driveway to serve every lot.
Was it necessary not to have those angled lots? I mean, they're sort of malformed lots.
Well, part of it is because of the improvements, that kind of the, what is parcel 3. But that was kind of the best way we can do it, to have the conforming lots with proper lot width and reasonable building envelopes.
If you sort of chopped everything off here, Jackie, you can sort of see the issue is that this property line coming down here like that makes the back of those properties, but it, it's not, you can sort
And
of.
with the 100-foot setback on the south, I mean, it's gonna remain, there's gonna be a pretty significant buffer to the lots to the south of it on Quimby.
Yeah, well, with the 3 acre zoning setbacks.
Yeah, it's, exactly.
You're looking at 100-foot your rear yard setback, actually.
Are there any overlays here? It's an
Yes,
ag
it's,
overlay district.
well, it's in the ag overlay district, and New York State Archaeological
Archaeological,
Center area,
okay.
and all this
And
was covered already, so.
Yeah.
So the description of the project, I grade this one out here, it's 1,432 square feet from parcel 2 to parcel 3, area 8. I just wanted you to confirm that for me. It was just hard for me to.
I'm actually grab the ZBA approved survey, so it's the most current one. Transfer map.
And I'll get back to that, though. I just want to clarify these.
Yep.
You reviewed this, you asked them to go to the zoning board first before you take any action on this, obviously, so. This was classified as a type 1 action under secret because of the ag overlay district. And so you issued a negative declaration in August 12th of 2021 for this. And then the zoning board on December 1st of 2022 granted the necessary relief to create the lots with the lot width issue. We made referrals, the town engineer made some comments, and we've incorporated into the approval, comply with the town engineer's requirements. The conservation board There's no wetlands, they didn't have any, much to say, as there's really no change in density. They do note the high priority quality improvement, but again, that was required, so we don't really need to specify that anymore. Town Ag Advisory Committee did give comments, and the first one is, they just find that the lot configuration would be better for farming, configured differently. And then they talk about the prime ag soils and recommending that, they speak to CPF or PLT. That's good, they can certainly go speak to CPF, they are prime ag soils. As for the farmability of the site, as they acknowledge in here, the property's not being farmed right now, it used to be farmed. The other side of it is, these are 4 building lots, that anybody could go get a building permit any time now. So, to the extent that if someone wants to farm these properties, they can. What goes through those property lines aren't really particularly important at this point, particularly when someone could go get a building permit. So in this case, if this was an agricultural reserve or something like that, we would be having a different discussion. But I just don't think that this lot line change ultimately affects the farmability of the property when these properties are designed for single-family residences. And the lot lines themselves don't change anything, they farm, this way or this way, regardless of what the lot lines are.
Yeah.
But absent the applicant going to CPF and having these things
Yeah,
preserved, it's not
yeah,
much we can do about it.
it's a pity, because it's some of the best farm soil in
That
the
clay
state.
soil is amazing, every
In-
time
in
you
New
see
York
it,
State.
you can tell.
So, just for my own benefit,
Yeah.
when a project or parcel is in the ag overlay district, what is our responsibility to maintain? Because it is, Bridgehampton, Loam, down in that direction is.
Well, here's what I would say to that. So if
So
it was a
valuable.
subdivision of land, right, we would certainly be preserving a percentage of the prime ag soils, depending on what zone it is. We'll call it 65% because that's the biggest number that they have in the code.
Right.
So that's where you would go with something like that. It's generally when you're reviewing a project where you want to preserve as much of the prime ag soils. That's really what you would be doing in a project. In something like this, a lot line modification normally wouldn't be a type 1 action. It'd be a, I was going around. You're moving your head, Brian.
That's
keep
okay.
moving.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
And so that would be.
It's like, don't listen to him.
That would be an incident, an instance. In this particular case, while I certainly appreciate the fact that there's prime ag soils, there's not much within this application I think this board could do to say to
Right.
somebody.
Because it's already 4 lots that
But
have been
We
subdivided.
didn't require a cluster on this?
Well,
It's 4 existing lots.
yeah, when was
There
when
was
was
it's
this?
in
Right.
existence.
Yeah.
A
It's a 4
subdivision
existing lots, so
approval
you're
already
adjusting
occurred, right?
Before it was
the
possible.
thing. No, there was, whatever
When-
subdivision prior, that was done in the 70s. did
In
not
the
require-
already occurred.
70s? This was subdivided in the
Yeah, you
70s?
saw it on the
Wow.
aerial photos going back to the
Can
site.
you do a
That's
zoomed out
foresight.
aerial? Because, of course, farther north on Ocean and then over off of Sag, there's a lot of farmland still intact.
Yeah, no, you
And
know.
in this area, it is mostly built out lots, you
Yeah,
can see.
for the most part, yeah, you're right about that.
To the extent you care for planning purposes, Lot 3 is currently a non-conforming to lot and landlocked, and we're creating a conforming lot there.
Yep.
So it is good planning from that standpoint. We're giving it road frontage, we're creating a common driveway. Where currently we could potentially have 4 driveways, or at least 3.
Mhm.
So I certainly appreciate that. And we certainly say,
I mean,
go
we
to
just-
CPF, we got money.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if these clients
I know,
need
I
the
know, I
CPF
know.
money.
it's probably-
I'm guessing no.
Yeah.
And it's not contiguous, that's the point, is like, if it was
100%.
contiguous to something else,
You
you
get a
could say
lot
add
more
that,
wiggle room
farmer
in that
add
board.
that
Yeah.
over, right?
It's-
So it's, makes sense with what else is there,
And
unfortunately,
it's
in the
already
70s.
been chipped off with the last lot line modification that was just done to parcel 1, to the lot that's now under construction, so it's kind of already.
And that
Thanks
was
for
already
entertaining the
subdivided.
discussion, just for
Yeah.
my benefit.
Happy to, sorry I got in the way of it there.
When
Yeah,
it-
no.
Prior
That's
to
okay.
clustering, right?
Prior to cluster.
Prior to clustering.
So the Office of Fire Prevention gave their standard comments. The one thing they did say in here, Brian, just be aware, there's public water and fire hydrants. However, upon when they go get building permits for these sites, they go back to the fire district, and the fire district at that time with the fire prevention would say install something else. So
Yep.
they're putting you on notice.
Okay.
The fire district didn't have any comments. The planning board makes the following findings. The lot line change will result in 4 lots conforming in the R20 zoning. exclusive of the flag strips, and each with the frontage on Atlantic Avenue. Although the lots contain prime soils and up until recently have been farmed, the lots, as they're currently configured, are permitted to be developed with single-family residences. Upon issuance of required building permits, the resulting lot line change will not have an impact on the ability to farm the vacant lots. I just wanted to address the ag advisory comments. I didn't want to just disregard them.
Yeah,
So.
in other words, they can be leased.
Yeah, like our clients, if they don't plan to do anything for the next
farm
20 years, they could lease it out and it continue to be farmed as it is today. Whether the property line's like this or like this through the middle of it, still could
Sure.
be.
It doesn't matter,
It
it's
doesn't
one
matter, it
piece.
still could be, yeah,
Yeah.
it's in common ownership. I
Right.
mean, not from a legal standpoint, but it's the same owner.
Can we
is
be
it-
consistent and call this Ocean Road rather than Atlantic Avenue? What's the?
Oh, yes, if I did that, I'm so sorry. This is also another one I took over, folks. So I'll try to.
Ocean Road.
Ocean Road, right? I'll make sure it's consistent throughout. Number 3, my mistake. I said the original subdivision map that created these lots, or a few of these lots, had a 50-foot wide strip in the rear of the property, but let me just show you. The 50-foot wide strip is here.
Yeah, so that's parcel.
It's, and when I first said, and I looked at the map, and I said, oh, there's a 50-foot wide strip here, to the town trustees, by the way, in favor of the town trustees. That's how the language of the 50-foot
That's
buffer.
interesting.
I looked at this, and I looked at the historic maps, I said, why on earth did they put a 50-foot buffer back here? It doesn't make this, and that's because it wasn't on this property, so, my mistake.
So there's no 50.
So there's no 50-foot buffer
No,
there.
that's-
That's Sag Pond, the water body on the right.
That's right, so that's where the 50-foot buffer is, and that
Makes
obviously
sense. Especially with the.
So that doesn't
flat opening.
need to go. The applicant shall show and note the street numbers for the parcels, or I should say all parcels, determined by the tax assessors. I highlighted this. They probably all have addresses already. I don't know if the lot line change affects that at all, so I just note that in
Okay.
case it
Understood.
does, that's all. So nobody has a problem with street addresses. Notation on the map regarding declaration of covenants and restrictions and the common driveway and utility easement. Again, a notation regarding the town zoning board decision as it relates to the zoning. The monuments need to be shown, that was from the town engineer, and then any other town engineer comments. Health department should be secured prior to, or must be secured prior to signature of the final maps. Town engineer approval and signature of the common driveway plans before signature of the maps. Submission of 3 draft deeds with meets and bounds descriptions prior to the recording, as stated above, prior to the signature of the transfer maps, and that should say 4.
Yeah, at least, because
It should say
yep,
4.
correct, yep.
So I will fix that.
I believe you're right, by the way, on number 4, but I gotta get back to you just to confirm, because when we created the lot, the numbers slightly changed.
Oh, okay.
So I'll
Oh, you
confirm.
mean as it relates to addresses?
No, the first comment you raised on the front page of the area E, the
Square
transfer.
footage.
Oh,
I believe you're correct, but I just want to double confirm that was Squires,
that's fine.
because we had to reconfigure a little bit to make it.
It'd be
more
hard to
odd.
read, that's
Yeah.
all. Okay, that's fine. But the number is correct there, the
Yep.
1,400 square feet is
Yep.
accurate. And then execution of the property transfers via 3 deeds, a transfer deed, and 2 confirmatory deeds for each of the resulting parcels. So, but up here it should say 4 deeds for the new 4 lots that are
Yep.
being reconfigured.
Yep, yeah, that'll be my fun.
Covenant, again, no further subdivision, unless approved by the planning board. Actually, it's just gonna say no further subdivision, because I don't think the lots can be subdivided. No lot line changes without planning board approval. Lots 1, 2, 3, and 4 are subject to a common driveway and utility easement. No new utility poles or overhead utilities for service for lots 1, 2, and 4. And the same thing about the underground utilities for lots 1, 2, and 4, not 42. Lot 3 is already developed, as everybody knows,
Yep.
so. This requirement for the 50-foot buffer is out, because it's not required. The 3-inch rainfall, required for the drainage, site drainage, and then retention of all stormwater and erosion on site is required. And then the next 3 covenants relate to the requirements of the construction prior to the issuance of COs, building permits, or conveyance of the lots, as noted. Title certification, mortgage consent if applicable, town attorney approval of the legal documents, abandonment of the underlying subdivision map as may be applicable and required by the office of the county clerk. We always state it like that because I never know what the county is going to say on some of these underlying abandonments. Sometimes they come back with something, sometimes they don't, so better just to put it in, and if they require it, we have it covered.
Anthony, don't you need to make reference to archaeological review 1 and 2?
Yes, because the, yes, you
But
guys
it's
did the
not
neg deck, so yes, I will state that in there. Yep.
Please.
Yep, that was done, and then, 10 copies of the transfer map prior to signature with the health department, obviously. And then those maps have to be, filed within, submission of required item sharing within 100 days. Oh, okay, that shouldn't, that last number 13, it shouldn't state that, it should say filing of the map within 62 days of the signature.
Anthony, a question, the utilities, you said one house was already there. Are those utilities above or underground?
I believe they're all underground.
That's, the reason why we've been doing this, Gloria, just for future references, because we had to go back on an application where I just made the blanket statement for all lots, and the one improved lot already had overhead utilities there.
Well,
We don't typically require that they bury them at that
Well,
point.
that was my question. Can we require it for the existing structure?
I don't know that we can. I think, I
You'd need an easement, a common easement, utility.
something,
easement.
what I would think is, if it was part of a secret review, that we said visually, that would have something, but I don't know that if there's an existing utility serving a house that's part of a subdivision, we could require that they
Could we
bury
say
it.
upon redevelopment of that lot?
I could certainly say
That's
upon
good.
redevelopment
I
of
like
that
Because
lot.
that house there is pre-existing non-conforming, so it's,
Mhm.
I'm not sure where the utilities are, but if that is to be redeveloped, I think that'd be
Yes.
an appropriate time to address it.
That's
Yeah, I
good.
mean, it's, from a practical standpoint, if you've got the utilities there and they're already putting the piping in, how much more difficult is it to then just connect to the house underground as opposed to on the side of the house?
I'm not
I mean,
very
they're not
handy, so I
even-
can't answer that question.
Not even
But it
just for
doesn't-
the.
No, I understand the point.
It just requires a common
Yeah.
an easement.
Yeah.
They may prefer it, they may prefer to do it.
Mhm.
So that makes sense.
I mean, that could be like a town board recommendation too, to change the, change the requirements for hurricane, it's
Yeah,
not just for
I mean-
scenic
But it is
vista, it's for
all-
hurricane, you're on Ocean Road, you should really get those
But all
utilities
new
under the
construction
ground.
is underground.
Yes, but when you're
But
in a
when you're
situation like
making
this,
This is odd, yeah.
Right.
it seems like it would not be that hard
Yeah.
financially or,
And they'd probably want to do it, honestly, but I don't know the answer. I certainly can agree that any redevelopment of that lot
Mhm.
would require that.
Anthony, I wouldn't use the term redevelopment. I
Oh.
would say structural modification in excess of 50%.
Mhm.
That defines it.
Use the conformity.
What,
Okay.
how old
Yeah.
is that building?
I don't know if I have a CO. I have an updated CO.
I mean, part of my question is, can we require it? And I guess with,
It depends, everything's gonna be so site-specific on
Yeah.
that one, you might have common ownership, and then it would be such a
Mhm.
lift with
I don't have that on me.
time.
The other side of it is, Gloria, I think, because you raise a very good question, because we grapple with this constantly. The other side of it is, in this particular case, I'll put in the language, like you said, the 50%, a substantial, improvement.
well,
Yeah.
In excess of
In
50%.
excess of 50%. The other side of it is here we have, a lot line change involving 4 existing lots. So harder for me to make the nexus, you know what I mean, between what they're asking for and what the requirement is, because they're not asking for additional lots here, you know what I mean? And so I'm not saying that that's an amazing reason, I'm just,
yeah.
speaking out loud.
Well,
It
I mean,
sounds-
if and when they were developing, then you're going underground. It all
100%.
should, I mean, the way it's done, it's not gonna be much effort to
100%.
connect.
I mean, logic would be to do it when you put the driveway in.
Yes.
I agree, I
Yeah.
just don't know.
Yeah, it's sort of like, this is an opportunity that, but,
So
Do good-
I guess that was my question for Christine, is like, what is the mechanism to do that? To say that for existing pre-approved subdivisions that are coming in for development where one lot or more is already developed with above-ground utilities, that as the remainder of the lots are being developed, that you get all those.
You're
So,
saying like as a
like as a
legislative
code change or
function?
something, or,
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like.
It's too
Anthony said,
specific.
It's gonna be complicated.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to capture every scenario. What you might wanna do though, since you're gonna make it that way, is provide for that lot now in the utility easement. So should, like, with respect to that lot, it'll be a future easement, like, do you know what I'm saying? So that they have that right of access and they're not gonna have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want them dealing with that later.
Yep.
So you're gonna have to,
Yeah.
that you could do now.
Yeah, this particular seems pretty obviously easy,
Yeah.
but it could be not.
But what Anthony's saying is also true, like, you need a justification beyond it makes sense, and it's practical, like, because they still have to bear the
There's a
burden
cost.
of it.
Yeah.
Well, they're getting legal access, so that's a big,
Yeah.
that's
Sure,
pretty
the
major.
other owner has to agree to it, right?
It's a common owner, isn't it?
Yeah.
The front
It's
lot?
a family.
The front lot is
The
not,
first-
the front lot's not a part of this. He has his
Right.
own separate access off Ocean Road.
Yeah, that lot's not part of this.
So you can't,
But the 4 lots we're looking at is commonly
Owned by
owned.
one
So
person.
it's easier, but if you had somebody who already built a house, you know, in a subdivision was approved, and you make a condition they goes on the ground,
That
that's
guy's
gonna
sitting
be.
there like minding his own business, all of a sudden
Right.
somebody else comes in and asks him about it, that's,
Yeah, it's not fair.
but you have to give them the opportunity, like, put in groundwork, no pun intended, for the easement, so that if they do it, and Dennis is, what he's saying, it makes sense, because then they'll lose their conforming use, and they'd have to update anyway, so
Yes.
just tie it to that.
And that's what I'll do, I'll fix that in that resolution, and that was it for that one.
And you'll have the archaeological
Yeah.
review. Anything, Brian? Any other questions?
No, I appreciate everything to this point, and
Okay. Any other
In
questions
agreement.
from the board?
no.
Okay, motion to approve is amended.
Motion?
Motion by Gloria, second by Kate. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 7 in favor. Thank you.
thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks, Anthony.
All right.
2331 Montauk Company?
Yep. This is just the aerial, this is Montauk Highway.
Anthony, there's nothing in the packet for this one.
No, there wasn't,
Oh, okay.
only because it was just a bond.
It's a
on that.
bond.
Oh, I see, got it.
So, this is Bridgehampton, this existed, well, it's been built out now, obviously, but, Farrell Building, and then a second Farrell Building over here. Everything's been built out, what they're doing now is, doing the maintenance bond for the landscaping. My fault, I did this site inspection a while ago and didn't put it on the agenda. So they've been waiting for me for a couple of months now, but that's okay. They gave me, the landscaping came in at just under $66,000, $63,000. So the bond amount would be, the maintenance bond would be $21,000 in this case. So I'm recommending that the planning board set the bond for $21,000 and recommend that the town board accept the maintenance bond for the landscape improvements in connection with 2331 Montauk Highway LLC.
There's no way that we can connect this to correct the illegal sign that's up?
No,
Wait, what are you talking
he's got a sign
Farrell
that he has to get
Building.
approval for.
He has a huge sign on his building.
about? You can issue a violation separate and apart from this if it's not in conformance with the code, but it can't, not with the performance.
So that is to be done separately?
That would have to be done separately. I have, I'm doing a site inspection next week, so I will take a look, and if I observe what you say,
It's on the-
there,
it's
then
on-
I will
It's on the
submit an
second,
affidavit saying that.
it's on the second story.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll take care of that then.
okay. Motion for the bond?
Motion.
Motion by Gloria, second by
Second.
Dennis, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor.
Maple residence is off, I think I got that resolved without the planning board having to
Right.
waste their time.
And number 7 is also off.
Yeah, well,
So we're on to page 41.
oh, 7, Claire did that, didn't she?
Yep.
It's all.
Yeah.
That was
Oh, that was
Claire's.
off, sorry,
It's
sorry,
off.
sorry, and 8 is off.
What's 9, Kate?
41.
9/11?
Yeah,
That's just the,
Traffic.
traffic.
Engineer.
engineer, so, let me just see something, just give me a second. Okay. I did a resolution after the fact for this one, only because I had to.
Thanks.
So we do
Oh,
have a
wait a second,
traffic
I might-
engineer?
We do, AKRF, I sent the proposal to everybody, Ally King, Rosen, and Fleming.
That's right, I did see it.
Yep, so here's what they came in at. Do the technical review, and they outlined in here what the scope of work will be, right? They're going to review the traffic impact, take a determine if the traffic analysis and parking protections are complete and adhere to standard practices, whether they're accurate. They're gonna look at the latest site plan for the purposes of traffic circulation, parking, and loading maneuverability. Were you saying something? Oh, okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
Read my mind.
So, in essence, they're going to do the traffic impact and parking analysis as we requested for this site plan. And they're going to provide the planning board with documentation, right, a report, memos, whatever goes in with that. If you look at how they broke this down, their fee schedule is, so the technical review and the documentation, and then virtual attendance, okay, at 2 meetings by Zoom would be $5,500. And then they say their in-person attendance at meetings each would be $950. The way I'm looking at this, if they're gonna do 2 Zoom meetings like that, and this, I would probably then do the $5,500 and account for 2 in-person meetings in addition to the 2 virtual. Because I think that would sort of cover enough meetings for us to go back.
I'm questioning that they're not planning any site visit.
Okay,
I had a question. Would that-
Sure.
Would that include recommendations for mitigative measures? So if they do point to certain site-specific issues.
I believe a representative from AKRF is here today. On Zoom.
Anthony, we only have one sheet of this.
That's just the resolution.
Oh,
That's not the,
Right.
I
Do we
emailed
have-
you guys.
No one on Zoom.
There's no one on Zoom?
Okay,
so there is no representative.
Because if you want, and the applicant said the 7-Eleven people might be here, can we go back and get clarification on a proposal about site inspection?
I just would, I mean, you
Well,
want,
we're
you want to
looking-
make sure there's site inspection.
Site
Yeah,
inspection.
I
was-
think you should
Right.
have mitigation recommendations.
Mitigation
in the event that-
recommendations.
Yeah, for sure.
maybe it's understood, but, questions of the board, because I have 3 or 4 or 5 questions. I haven't sent them to you yet, Anthony, but from looking at the study that's been presented, so.
Do you want to approve them subject to all of this coming in for that price so that you can move ahead with the resolution and
Yeah.
get them going?
Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah, what they should include. Do you have that list?
Yes.
Site inspection
The mitigation recommendations.
time
and
is a couple-
response
And the
to
response
planning
to planning
board
board's
question.
questions.
Yeah,
Let me just do one thing here while I have my trusty concept here. All right, so it's gonna be 5,500 plus another 1,900, I think, because we're gonna do the 2 meetings. So it's gonna be $7,400, okay?
But we're not sure they're gonna do the 3 things we just
Well, that's,
identified.
that,
Yeah.
you know,
Saying
that's-
that we're
So
gonna-
I-
Subject to them agreeing to do those things. It would be subject to them agreeing to do.
right, and if they don't
including
agree,
those
then
things.
we'll have to keep
And
looking.
the board gets to determine whether they want them in person or on Zoom. Because if they want to be on Zoom, but the board wants to see
Okay.
them, then.
Okay. So, what I would say then is, I think that, I'll just go back then, and get the clarification then, right?
Yes.
Instead of,
Yeah, they can do it subject to.
oh, do it subject to.
And they gave you a price for an in-person.
Yeah,
visit?
they did. Okay, so it's going to
But they
be,
gave us a price that may not include things we've just identified, so
Correct,
I
so
don't know.
everything would be, it would be up to that.
Would be
we'd
subject to.
approving Up to that amount, inclusive, subject to that amount, including these things. If it's anything other than that,
Then
it's
it has to
coming
come back to
here,
us.
and you'll renegotiate.
Right.
Okay.
But
But
ideally,
at least we
the
can-
answer to
You
those
can get us
questions
moving
would be
if they, if
Yeah,
you
just
agree.
like to
They
just
should
so
say
that
yes.
they
get them working.
If coming out to
And
the
we'll
answer.
get it in writing. We'll have
so
it
you
in
want to
writing.
do with the 5,500 plus the 2 in-person meetings,
Yes.
that 1,900 then?
Well, it included one person,
No,
person,
no.
I thought.
Included 2 virtual attendance meetings.
And I thought one, I thought that's it.
But what was the 950?
No, it was per
Per meeting, in-person meeting.
Zoom.
per
We're doing
in-person
2
meeting
Zoom
if you
meetings.
wanted.
Well, that's
Or maybe,
Okay.
maybe
The
the
Right.
55 was
that's-
included 2 Zoom, but no
You have,
in-person.
do you
Okay.
have a preference as to whether or not they're Zoom or in person? It's up to you.
Well, if they're going to be showing maps and what have you, it's so much better to have it in person. We could have one Zoom, one in
Well,
person.
because the technical review documentation and virtual attendance, that 5,500 includes 2 virtual meetings, so we know that. I think, I would say, I would do 2 in-person meetings
Two
on top
in-person
of that,
meetings plus everything else we
that
want.
we asked for.
Yeah.
Are we on a deadline for getting their work back, their report?
Their report, this is
Mhm.
for the.
This is for secret at
right,
this
for
stage of the
The
game.
DEIS or the, it's for the DEIS, even,
Well, it's for a secret determination, remember?
right? We also look for that, yeah, I don't know where we were in this one.
It's something interesting
We
that
have
you,
to move with, we can't have undue delay, so to the extent. we
Sure,
can
of
move
course,
it-
yeah. But if their proposal doesn't meet,
Right, no, I
what
know.
we're imagining, then why don't we just get them to modify the proposal to include the things, and we can look at it quickly and approve it at the next
Right.
meeting?
And the
unless
site-
we're under a pressure deadline.
That's kind of where I'm coming
They're
from.
charging
Well,
$9.50.
we've been pushing it out because of this, and sort of, and when you're in this process, sort of, now, you know, we're gathering more information and then trying to get more information, so sort of secret. My resolution, however, says now that we're going to be doing this, now we sort of got to acknowledge timeframes a little bit more, because now we're gonna hire somebody, so in my resolution, I put, I left it blank, but, an extension to make a secret determination until such and such time, you know, whatever.
So we are under a time crunch. So is that correct? We
No.
are under a little bit of a
No.
time crunch to
Not
get this
We've
work
not
done?
made a secret determination.
Okay.
It's not, there's not a spelled out reg that we're trying to
No.
comply with right
I mean,
now.
We're,
It's just
Right,
kind
so
we're
of-
then-
moving it along. It's on the
Yeah.
agenda. We're discussing it. I just had a question on your last resolve. Extends the secret determination deadline
That's what he's
for the
saying.
ZBA?
Well, technically, well, I'll fix that, I'll put both in there, because I've been referencing both, ZB.
Yeah.
Technically, the application is before the zoning board right now.
You're the lead agent.
You're the lead agency,
we're
but the
lead.
application
Right.
is before the zoning board.
But we're extending,
Well, we would, but I think we're just gonna come back, I think the planning board
Yeah,
has asked me to
yeah.
come back, with a new proposal with.
by the next session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do. I don't know if the applicant is on Zoom or anything like that.
It said there's no one on.
Oh, no one on Zoom, okay.
Yeah, I
So we'll
mean,
have to,
Are we assuming that
Can I,
the money, the
Excuse
money?
me?
Can I say something?
Sure, come on.
Are you connected to this application?
My husband is.
No, I don't think that's appropriate. I'm
Okay.
sorry. You, what were you saying?
My concern is that we've raised several issues that may not be included in the price that has
Right.
been
Correct.
suggested.
Correct.
So he's
So-
saying he is gonna
so I'm
come
saying,
back.
rather than you guys do anything, I'll go back to AKRF, spell out what the additional things that we're looking for and say,
Right.
what's covered, if do we need any additional fees, that's fair to the applicant. So, you know.
And they did give you a price for an in-person visit.
Yeah.
Right? I would imagine if you ask for a site
No, they
visit,
said
they're gonna
only,
ask
they
for.
said two, we have two conflicting things here, only two virtual,
I thought
right?
you said-
Right, well, what I'm
and
gonna
then-
do is I'm going to ask.
No,
AK
but Tom is under the understanding that they said that it would be one in person.
For $9.50 or something? It
Can
was-
you read it
wanted
again,
it.
what it says?
If we wanted it in person, right.
It will be
The
nice.
technical review and documentation and virtual attendance at 2 meetings, $5,500. In-person attendance at meeting each, $950.
Right, so they've basically quoted us a price to come out
Yes.
for the
Yes.
in-person visits.
Right.
So you can add that on.
That's what he was doing.
And
So we know that that's done.
a site visit, they're probably gonna say, okay, for another $9.50,
But
we'll
we
come
don't
out
know.
and do a
The
site visit.
$5,500 may include a site.
Yeah, I mean, now, yeah, I wanna go back and get this clarified, I'm not
Yeah.
comfortable now at all with this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be frank, this, now, that's a no for me.
How does
It's
one
all about
conduct
travel
a
Right, because
traffic
now
study?
we're gonna
Without a
approve a
site
contract that
visit.
will have numbers on it.
Without a site
No,
visit.
not a
I'm
thing.
sorry, we'll put this on next time.
Anthony, AKRF is,
I don't think that
they are
that's true
traffic
about
engineers?
They're an all-inclusive, traffic, environmental
Land
planning
use.
engineering firm,
Yes.
yes. They have a whole traffic engineering division.
And where are they located? No?
Nassau
They
County,
have
New York City,
offices, right.
White Plains,
They're-
they have offices.
They're all over the
They're
country.
well known.
They are.
I've worked with them before. They're-
Yes?
Yeah, they're
Good.
big, I don't know, East
Okay.
Coast, whatever. They're
They were
big.
the only firm that responded?
McLean is working with Jeff in Riverhead on the project, so there was a conflict. I didn't hear anything from the other one. There was Green and Peterson, there was Barrett Bonacci and Van Wheel. I know that Ron Hill had done engineering, they whittled out a lot of what they've done, so, so.
Business must be good in the traffic study world.
What's that?
The business must be good in the traffic study.
I guess so.
A lot of demand and not enough traffic engineers.
Well,
that's
it's always very good, so they can't spend time on small things like this.
Well, I don't know how hard it is, because everybody comes back and says there will be no impact.
That's true.
They all use the same manual, you know?
I mean,
Anthony,
Send it
on
down
your
the line.
list, when Tom asked, I don't think GPI was on there. And I just recently working with them on a project and they've done a nice job, so might be another resource for
Who's that?
traffic study, GPI.
Green and Peterson.
Oh, Green and Peterson, okay.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, they're, as I emailed you, I'd like to look
Oh,
at
you
your
already
list
did.
and
Okay.
suggest,
Yes,
well,
I
I
think
didn't
that's what-
suggest anybody, I said I'd like
Okay.
to look at the list of people
Mhm.
that we solicit. or-
They're located in Babylon.
Yeah, they're up, they're up.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so we'll just take that off and come back next time, we'll have a clarification on it.
So no action?
No
No
action.
action. And you'll change that, extends for ZBA planning board,
Yeah.
yep, okay.
Okay, number 10, Jane, I'm also taking this one over. Town's
Oh,
killing me
yes.
slowly here, see?
Yes.
Jane Frith. You might recall, here's.
On the
up here,
turnpike,
On the
Yeah.
turnpike.
and
Um,
lots of wetlands.
She
Well,
couldn't
there
come
you go.
today, unfortunately, she had
So-
some procedure done.
Yeah, so just as the board reminds the board here, this is a CR80 zoning district, it's aquifer protection overlay district. It's also in the agricultural overlay district, so it's in all sorts of overlay district. Very significant wetlands, the property's improved with multiple, residences that sit down here. Applicant has requested, and you did a pre-application on this, you might recall, a density incentive subdivision that would allow for,
Affordable units.
the affordable workforce
Can you give
units.
a number?
Yes, page 42.
Thank you. I got spoiled.
Oh, shoot, I gotta pull up the map.
I'm Karen Pate Murphy, I'm the attorney for the owner, Jane Frith, who wanted to come, but she
Okay.
couldn't, she's
So,
out.
just so you know, with some of the mapping items, I will get you the checklist.
Okay.
Okay, but here's the big thing with this. This is the PRD plan, actually. Okay. The idea is to, develop this with a density incentive plan. My understanding is, with the open space in the middle of the property, lots clustered down here, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, hearing that the 2 lots back here would go to CPF, or?
Yes,
Okay.
they're gonna be sold to the CPF.
So,
As lots or as divided, singular separate lots?
Yes.
Or
Oh,
Not
okay.
land, not,
Well, they'll get more money if it's
Yeah.
part of the subdivision.
create lots, go to sell to CPF is a lot, more money. in it,
That's
yeah.
why,
Um,
so.
The primary, I'm recommending we deem this application incomplete. And there's some mapping stuff, Karen, that you gotta get, wetland setbacks for the building envelopes, all this stuff. But the big thing for me was the secra analysis. A long form came in, and it's filled out. But, for example, on the discussion about, impacts on open space. Hold on. You said, not applicable, there would be no impacts. Well, there's the property surrounded by town-owned land. It's got significant wetlands in the middle. The map shows, with no explanation really, it says New York State DEC pit, right in the middle of the property, and then shows a 535-foot radius around that. I don't know what that is. Is that
That's,
the tiger salamander?
that was they had to delay for over a year, was the DEC had to review this project. And they created that 535. That is they considered that, let me see if I have what the pit is. That was the I guess, center point that they did the center of because of all the wetlands. And also, this is salamanders and bats in this area. So this is not gonna be disturbed. And also,
what is the periphery? I mean, they went
they did a 535-foot circle around that pit.
Okay.
And also, originally, this was, they would make clay bricks off of this property, so it's a little unusual that it's in the aquifer overlay, but maybe because the adjacent areas were.
They're brick manufacturing up and down the turnpike.
Okay, yeah, that's,
So
I didn't know that. I grew up in Bridgehampton, I
yeah,
didn't
I
know
mean,
that, so.
Yeah, it was on
I'm a-
Clay
a
Point
wood-
Road
wood-
or
But
Clay
I guess
Brook
there's,
Road or
yeah,
something.
that's what originally was
Brick
was there
Hill Road?
before here.
Brick Hill.
Bricklin Road,
Yeah,
right,
Right.
I mean,
It's all- it's right there in front of us.
I've seen detritus from brick kilns in the woods in that area.
For sure.
But anyhow, Inner Science handled the whole application with the New York State DEC, so I'm sure whatever you
So,
need for
to that
secret, we
point,
can
Karen,
get.
because, we know about the environmental sensitivities of the site, but a discussion about this issue is in order. The wetlands, you know, there's got to be a discussion about how much wetlands are we talking about? What are the wetland setbacks? What are the impacts?
We
to the
we do have the wetlands on the map.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is, if the board's got, first, because before we can do, even deem this application complete, we gotta coordinate with all the involved agencies, because it's type 1. If this planning board's going to consider the environmental review on an environmentally sensitive piece of property like this, a narrative, a much larger narrative than what was submitted is gonna be in order. Because if they don't have the information, you know, this is a
What
very
is
sensitive piece.
the meaning of the 535-foot radius?
I don't know the
That's
answer to that. And that information is important. I know it might be in the DEC permit, but an
I'll have to
environmental-
have Inter Signs come
Yeah,
and
just
give
have
you,
Inter
because
Signs.
they're experts on this.
That's
That's why we
right.
got them.
Right.
But then
And,
that
you
kind of
know,
stuff.
also, there's already there's 3 existing houses on the property along the way, and 2 lots are gonna be sold to CPF, 3 are affordable, so we're really, you know, there's just 2 at-market lots, and they're on the road there. So,
No,
and
you
they're
know, Karen,
preserving over 50% of the property. I mean, the 2 CPF lots, one is 2.61 acres, and the other one is 2.3, and then the open space area is 11.1, and this is a 23-acre parcel. So, and Ms. Frith feels very strongly about providing affordable housing. So that's why she had the 3 lots. There was an issue about density. We originally had 4, but she didn't have time to fight that, so we went with 3. But, you know, we had met with, who was the former head of the Housing Authority? Diane Weir.
Diane Weir.
Yes, and these are big enough that they can have an affordable housing and an apartment, these 3 lots. So that's, you know, creating something that, and buses go by here, and, you know, it's something that's needed, as everybody knows. So, anyhow, but I will have them come
Yeah,
if
just,
I can be
need
put
something
on.
here to analyze.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
really.
it's a
I understand.
balancing act as much as we want to preserve,
100%.
and I'm the first person to do that. We
Yes,
also,
and-
we
and-
also need affordable housing.
Yes,
We do.
and also Anthony just got this. I think this is another one from
Yeah, no, this is Jackie's.
Jack.
fault.
Jackie's, and it took a long time, so, you know, I should have bothered you sooner, and I would have had Inter Signs there, so I apologize for that, but,
Anthony, are you looking more so for like expansion of the seeker long form to make clear all of these
We
things
have-
in
Yeah,
there?
in other words, if
We
we're gonna
have
talk
it.
about wetland,
yeah, we have it though, right?
you have the environmental assessment form, the EAF form part 1.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but Karen, sitting there and saying that there's no impact on open space or not applicable, that's not helpful. Saying that there's wetlands isn't helpful. Give an analysis. This is something that says New York State DEC PIC. Nobody knows what that is. There's a 535-foot radius about
What does
that.
that mean?
Explain what all this is, because my understanding is, I'll go back and look, I believe that something was proposed for this in the 90s, and the planning board said pause deck on it, and the application was withdrawn. So, I'm not trying to stop you or hurt your project, Kieran, that's not my job. But
No, I think
with the
we'll be able
environmental
to,
assessment,
yeah.
the more we have, the better we could do a review, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, because I mean, we want to work together, and we don't want to have to eliminate the affordable lots or whatever.
No, you know,
We
but
want to, she wish
with
she
the
could do
significant
more.
wetlands, it's important that we get a, you know,
Yeah.
a discussion about the habitat that could be found within, you know what I mean? In
Oh,
other
yeah,
words,
no,
so-
that's,
so-
and you know what, we
'cause
have
gotta go through the
that.
part 2, each one of those.
We have that, so that's fine. Inter Science did a whole analysis on this. Unfortunately, it took a couple of years, so we finally, you know, got back here. So I would like to be put on the next agenda, and hopefully, assuming I can get Inter Science to come, because they
Yeah.
did all the analysis. And I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not an expert on that. And they dealt with the DEC.
So
and they give
the DEC drew this circle from the.
Yes.
So I'm speculating, but it
Yeah,
would seem
they-
to be that is an endangered
Well, yeah, in other
area.
words, they show a perimeter of 530 feet, well, what does that mean exactly? I don't know what it means, you know what I mean? So just some explanation of the environmental
Tiger
conditions of the
Well,
site.
Tiger
Very
Salamander has a very specific,
Yeah.
perimeter
They,
around it.
yeah, there is a letter here, which I don't know if it's in the record, but it talks about And this is from the Deputy Permanent Administrator for DEC, and this is February 2nd, 2021. It talks about, in addition, a line indicating the 535 feet from the breeding ponds, the middle pond and adjacent pit. So this pit is very significant.
Yes.
That's what's going on, so that's, I'm sorry, I'm not up on
So
that, but.
Anthony, from the time that the additional information is submitted to you, how long do you need to prepare the report
Well,
so we can consider it?
What'll happen is, and I'll give you the checklist, I'll give you, what'll happen is that because this is a type 1 action, not much is gonna happen, if we have what we need for the next meeting, okay, and I have enough information, whether or not we agree with it, whether or not we wanna make changes, I just need to have the information, then we could coordinate with the involved agencies. And so then we gotta coordinate with all the involved agencies, the DEC, whoever.
Right.
And then proceed from there.
Exactly.
Right.
Because there are certain setback, I mean, we can't even look at the developable lots without
That's
knowing
why I
the
want to see wetland
setbacks.
setbacks and all that stuff,
Exactly.
all that good stuff.
Okay.
So today's action is just to deem it incomplete,
Deem
and
it
then you'll
incomplete.
let us know when it's
Not
coming
my
back.
timelines.
And then I just ask that we get put on as soon as you have enough time with the new information. And I
I'm
definitely
incredible.
want
He always does
InterScience
that.
to be there.
So you line up InterScience and let
Yes,
Anthony
and
know when
and
they
I'm
can
sorry, I
come.
should have bugged
No, that's
you,
okay.
because I would have brought them here, but I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't, so anyhow, but at least we're getting there. So, thank you.
Well, it's,
So we,
you're trying to do a bunch of things.
Yeah.
No, I know.
And we
it's-
have, and
it's-
we need more information to balance.
No, I totally understand that, and, I refresh my memory, but it's, I don't pretend to be an expert, so I want the experts to come in, so thank you.
Are the houses that are there, those gray clapboard houses, 2 of them, or not? Close to the road?
Yeah, there's 3 houses,
Yeah.
so they're gonna be on separate lots, and she lives in one of the houses.
Okay.
And then there's 2, like, market rate houses.
Did she subdivide that property to build those houses? I remember them being built, and I thought, gee, we didn't see it. We didn't see a subdivision plan. of
No,
that.
think
there's
they've
never
been there
been a
for a while.
subdivision.
No.
I think
Never
it's,
has.
They've
it's been in
there
her
for a while.
family. I
Yeah.
think her grandfather bought it or something,
Mhm.
so it's been in there for, who knows, like 100 years maybe, I don't know,
Yeah.
30s, since the 30s, so
Those
they,
houses have been, they're not recent built.
no, maybe they put siding on it or something,
Well,
but,
one of them is new, I mean, not new to yesterday, but certainly in the last 8 years, 10 years, because I would drive by and see it being built and thinking, wonder what they're doing, is this like an accessory building? or-
well, I can't.
You can't
I
speak
can't
to that.
remember that.
But
I don't
Anthony, some-
remember anything like that,
Some history
so-
on this is, I think, would be valuable.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine.
That's the fun
But,
part.
yeah. Oh, it's a big piece of property, so it should be done, correctly, so thank you. All right.
we have to
Karen.
take action. Is there a
We
motion?
need,
So, motion to deem this incomplete
Motion?
by
Yes.
George, second
Thank
by
you,
Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
Yes,
Opposed,
and thank you.
abstentions, 7 in favor.
Thank you for
Thank
putting
you.
it on,
Thanks, Karen.
Anthony.
That's no
This has
problem.
been-
So, Old Spionk, Stables at Old Spionk,
Yes, let's take this go around. We finally got,
page 46.
46.
what's that? Oh, I know. Thank you, Kate, for that. This is a subdivision that's been going on for some time. This is on,
North Phillips Avenue?
North Phillips
Phillips,
Avenue,
yeah.
Spionk, that's it. This is, it initially started off as a density incentive workforce housing plan with 6 market rate lots and then a density incentive to go up to 9. You can't do the density incentive in certain parts of town. If you have, if the population density in the census tract is over 500 people per square mile, you're not eligible for the density incentive. So, we had to get rid of the density incentive, and so they came in with a 6-lot plan plus the 1 for the Long Island workforce housing, that, we have to
Complied,
comply
yeah.
with. And so basically we have now a 7-lot plan. I wanted to show you this plan. This is the property. Got some town-owned land here, some town's open space here, and some town open space here. So as you know, what we did was, just did a simple cluster plan, put the open space in the back, so it links up to everything else, and then just put the lots here.
Can you show the aerial again? I'm
Sure.
sorry,
Yeah.
too fast.
Actually, let me,
Why doesn't the town buy things that are connected?
you got uses in
Instead
here,
of
some
all these
pre-existing
little
uses.
pieces.
Well,
It's
they-
a
we
strange
getting
road.
the,
There's a lot going on over there.
You know, the good thing is that we get this in place here, we get this in place back here.
Yeah.
Here's a missing link here,
So there's a corridor.
you know, but,
Yeah,
you know,
we're trying to establish a corridor in the rear.
as much as possible.
Or at least wildlife corridor, if not human.
Yeah.
Well, it could be a trail.
Yeah, could be, there's green there. So this is, the subdivision map, they're missing a few things, so, just deeming the application incomplete, or recommending that we deem the
So they
application
lost
incomplete.
2 affordable lots?
Yeah.
They could have
Well,
had?
really, one.
No, well, it's we lost 2.
Oh,
We were originally getting 6 market rate and 3
oh,
affordable,
okay.
and now we get 6 market rate and 1 affordable.
That's a bummer. That's a good spot.
Yeah, well, it was very strange, when I actually read that requirement of the code. Only normally you try to put your density where the density exists already. So to eliminate the densely populated communities, just on the outset, I don't know that was.
Well, you need a zone, you need a zone
I
change.
think that's because of school.
It is, and I realize that,
Is that Spion Grimsenberg School? Is that Eastport South Manor?
That I don't know.
The
That's
school
beyond
line's
Gre- I think
really
that's beyond
weird through
Grimsenberg.
there.
I think it's beyond Grimsenberg, actually.
And it's right up, as you, well, you know, but it's right up the road from the Spion.
Yeah. But that's only,
Affordable
that's only
housing.
elementary.
Yeah, common.
Right.
Is it elementary? Yeah,
Spion.
when they go to West Hampton.
So this is a very conventional
Very conventional
subdivision plan
subdivision.
with a
Or
cul-de-sac,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But we're gonna be, I'm just recommending that we deem it incomplete.
A motion.
Second.
Motion by Dennis, second by Craig. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor.
12 Claire handled.
Why is it incomplete?
There was mapping items and some paperwork. I have a checklist that I'll give the applicant.
Yeah, you didn't include your checklist with any.
I didn't this time, I'm
I-
scrambling to try to get everything done.
I'd so like to see that.
I know you do, and I appreciate that you do. I will just tell you, in this case, there were just some mapping items that I just wasn't comfortable with saying, let it go for now, so.
And this is the only plan that they submitted the way they laid it out?
Well, now at the final, yeah. We were at the final application. So number 13, you did number 12, 1456 SRR LLC. Spionk Riverhead Road, we're looking at a lot of site plans, as you know, on this road.
Yeah.
Which one, you want
Page
13?
13. Oh, you did, I don't know what's in the,
Yes, 13.
56
13 is
SRR.
1456 SRRR.
is it in the packet, Kate?
Yes,
Yes, they
page
are.
54.
No.
packet.
What are we gonna do if you don't look this stuff up?
You look at the top right corner and that says the number of the
It is page
item
54.
number.
So it is LI 40 zone, it's got an existing, I believe,
Oh, I
residential
see.
structure on there. It's also in the Aquifer Protection Overlay
He
District.
gave it away.
And the Pine Barrens Compatible Growth Area. Application is for a special trade contractor, a couple buildings. Hold on. Special trade contractor uses, building back here, seems like a long building back here, and associated parking. I have a checklist also for this one, I'm so sorry to the board, I didn't give you the checklist.
What flanks this, Anthony? What are the properties on the other side?
This one here might be
Is that Brody's place?
Brody's, it is Brody's actually.
Really?
So it's all, you know, you have industrial going up to the north, you have the CR 200 on this side, CR 200 sandwiched in between these two.
Are we in the plume area here?
I don't know, but I suppose it could be, and
I
it
don't,
would
I don't
likely
know
come
what
out.
the, yeah, I don't know what the
Doesn't.
migration data is saying. It would have been, sort of on the perimeter of,
Right.
but that's
So
years ago.
Plume is, yeah. We should, you know, from an environmental standpoint, we should track that.
Yeah,
They put a water main in now, so everybody
Did
there can
they?
connect to city water.
Great.
well,
Yeah.
that's good.
Is there
Um,
some sort of GIS overlay that can be piped in?
Sure,
to-
I'm sure
you know,
there is.
like-
I mean,
okay.
yeah, we have layers of everything, so.
Right, yeah.
It's just another layer, so that shouldn't be.
So
I'm speaking
there's-
on behalf of this IT department, but
Well, can the IT do a plume overlay?
I'll certainly look into that. That should be, if there's mapping information out there for something,
No
our
worries.
GIS team could incorporate it into our system, no
That's,
problem.
for all this stuff in here, that's really important.
I agree. There were some items missing in the packet, elevations included, by the way, I didn't get elevations, a floor plan. So we have to deem the application incomplete until we get those. If you get them in, I'll put you on next week or for the week after, and we'll get you going.
Susanna Herman and consultants for the applicant. Just briefly regarding the plume, in the pre-application, you mentioned that it was within 1,000 feet, I believe,
Okay.
of the plume. So we added a note to the survey saying that requirement may be put in place for a vapor barrier. However, we have an application with the health department and they haven't mentioned anything to that effect. I did a little bit of research that there was correspondence between the town and the DEC and the health department and everyone pointing in other directions as far as liability. And it seemed like the town had decided not to do anything about the plume. I
Well,
could be
it's-
wrong.
I don't think it is in the town's jurisdiction to do
No.
anything.
Right.
And they don't know that, nobody knows the exact origin.
Right. So anyway, we did look at that. I don't think it's going to be a factor in developing the property as far as the health department's concerned because we already have applied to them and have an incomplete application for other things, but they haven't mentioned
Are you putting it
anything.
in a basement?
No, there's no basement. It's just,
I think we were required on some other properties a certain, a map notation or a notation in the deed. What was it, Dennis?
I was just, we once
But-
asked for
advisory.
vapor,
Soil
barriers
barrier.
for Woodfield
Right.
Gables. I don't know where that is in connection with this, but you did do that, like.
Yeah,
An advisory.
Yeah.
18
on
years
that.
ago.
Right.
10 years.
yeah.
It's across the street.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we did require it. for-
so we added a note to the survey saying a vapor barrier may be required. Again, it's not residential,
Right.
so,
Mm-hmm.
and
Who makes the call on that?
The health
Is it
department.
Health department?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you look through it, but you can make it. through
But we
Secure,
can
you'll
make a
find
note
out.
of
Well,
it
what's
to
gonna
make sure
happen
that they
is,
look at it.
I have to look real quick.
We could do it by referral.
To who, I'm sorry?
Through secret, they're gonna.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
So the other side of it is a type 1 action for over 50 parking spaces, so it's a
Yeah.
type 1 action, just so you are aware. So now. you
So
have
we
the
can make
ability,
that-
you know.
Make that requirement in the secret.
Yeah, well, yeah, when we get all
Part of
the
the
information,
VA.
we'll see what we have to incorporate, but yes, that would be a good time to start looking at some of those types of things.
The
but
data
it is a
may
type
already
1.
be available. Because I know they were doing testing up and down that road. They have test wells.
Yeah.
the health department may have it, but I wasn't able to find anything in my research, but
DC.
from either, so.
Boy, somebody drops the ball,
I couldn't find anything recent,
yeah.
so.
Let's think about the toxic water in Bethpage.
Well, the plume isn't there until you talk about it.
Yeah, there you go.
It's frightening.
Yeah,
Anthony, how soon could the GIS do an overlay for the plume?
Oh, that I don't
I
know.
think
but-
they already, didn't they do something, they worked with the county to do all of the water tables and all of this stuff, and didn't all that happen? There might already be something that exists, like,
Anthony has the overlay, you have all the overlays there, right?
but it's on, it was a county thing, so, but they might have access to it. We can talk to Ross, like, he would know.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Ross. That's-
He makes
I
magic.
think they did a lot of this.
I think
You
the
have a
migration
long
was
list
to the
of things to
southwest.
do, Anthony.
That's okay. That's
I
It's
just
job
would,
that's what I
security.
do.
I think we would
Job.
rather know sooner rather than later
Yes.
if we're going to have to deal with anything.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
But I think the worst case scenario is you'd have to put some sort of barrier between the foundation and the
Right.
Right.
occupied space.
Yeah.
So we need elevations,
We need
floor
elevations and
plans.
floor plans.
I think for the pre-app, we'd given some very basic,
Yeah, I mean, now we gotta have some,
Okay.
you know.
all right,
So get that, we'll be good.
all right. Anything else?
No?
Motion deemed incomplete.
Motion by Dennis, second by Gloria, and all in favor. Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor.
Let's see here.
200 West Montauk.
This was Jeff's,
Completeness.
it's out, obviously. This one, you looked at last, this is that long skinny property on West Montauk Highway, 200 West Montauk Highway. They're coming in to redevelop the property, or to reuse the building. Let me see what we got here. Conversion of an existing 1,650 for two-story antique and furniture repair shop to a retail store, home furnishing, and a nail salon. First floor with second floor office space and unfinished basement. HB R40's in the
This is
back.
the one next to the McDonald's.
McDonald's.
right?
That's correct. So I think you looked at it last time. They didn't have elevations or anything. They had a site plan, but they didn't have elevations, or maybe he didn't put it on the agenda because of it. The applicant then came in with some renderings. wanted to show the board real quick. Remember, this is a pre-submission, so they give it this, usually a conceptual site plan and some type of elevation or something. I'm showing these to you because I'm gonna leave the class, I'd leave it up to you guys. If you're okay with this, to do your pre-submission conference, or if you want actual, formal elevations, in order to make comments on this. This is an existing building, so what we're looking at is probably the work that they would do to the existing building.
And where is this, on the side?
In Hampton Bays, right next
Adjacent
to
to a
the,
McDonald's.
Right next to the
Directly
McDonald's.
west.
in front of the Stop and Shop.
It used to be D's.
Oh, it's in front of the stop?
D's
Yeah. There's
Caney.
a McDonald's right
We
there.
could repair.
I actually got something repaired there. I know
Okay.
exactly where it is.
So if you're okay with what they're showing you here to say
Gas
how the building's
station
gonna
is
generally look, then we could schedule
No,
the
this is
pre-submission.
This is
It's okay.
The Stop and
Yeah,
Shop
they
is
have to,
back there.
I mean, is that
Building
clapboard, is that shingle, is that
Well, yeah, but
painted?
we
Yeah.
could get that information for the pre-submission is not gonna be till March 23rd.
They're not gonna modify the height or anything?
Right, that's
No, I
right.
don't think so.
Okay,
That's not what's proposed.
gotcha.
So I recommend scheduling the pre-submission conference for March 23rd.
Motion,
Second?
motion by Kate, second by Craig, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? 7 in favor, so March 23rd, that's going to be, that was Bennett's application.
Yeah.
That's going to be a pretty full, so let's keep
Let's
that
leave it
in
at that.
mind,
then.
okay?
Okay.
Is this the second one for March 23rd?
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Only two, okay. Number 15, Wesnowski Raymond. This was a site disturbance. Actually, I took this over for somebody else. This one, they got the approval, you did the approval for this, but the season came upon us and they weren't able to do anything, so they just wanted to extend the approval of their re-veg plan. It would go from January 18th, 2023 until July 23rd, 2023.
Lots of 23s in these dates.
A lot of 23s, and then they could do it, sometime in the spring and get it done.
Motion to extend this?
Motion.
Motion by Gloria, second by
Second.
George, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor. Certain solar,
Yeah, this is the enterprise zone one. It's been a couple of years already, huh?
Yeah, what's going on there?
They haven't, they never finalized everything to get this was not a huge,
just a small one.
very
Yeah.
small, and it incorporated for a second phase some solar. And so, very small footprint, but they never got final maps in. I think the ownership might have changed, so I think some things happened. So basically, they were just looking for a reapproval of what was approved for 2 years, which then would, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, they're continuing with this project?
Yes, they're continuing with the project.
Too bad.
Well,
'Cause that's where we could have put the other battery
It'd be
storage
nice,
place.
this is great
This is
property
a great
for that.
location.
So the reapproval would bring it to September 23rd, 2025.
Motion,
To September
I'll second.
23rd,
25.
2025?
Yep, 2 more years.
Wow.
Okay. Motion by Gloria, second by Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions?
Yep. I think it's 30 Laurel Lane.
If you'd let me call for the motion before you call out for a motion, that would be more helpful to me. Thanks.
And then this one was
Are you 18?
18, this was Jeff's, it's a revegetation for this property. They're substantially overcleared, as you can see. To restore 22.5%, that's pretty substantial.
Do you have any other aerials?
I'm sure I have. Hold on. Where's my stuff? Everything got messed up today. And then this is under 34 Lane. Plant list, revegetation now. Let's look at this bad boy. Ooh, wow, okay. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
right.
so this has got a very substantial
Yeah.
understory and tree planting plan to bring it into compliance. And so this was Jeff, so I was gonna recommend that we approve the revegetation plan, subject to the standard requirements. They gotta
Yep.
get the inspection, the as-built survey. If they don't complete it within the the
Planting
the
periods,
planting
right?
period, then they have to do a renewal.
Great, okay. Motion
Motion.
by Dennis, second by
Second.
George, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor. We
What
did
was
the
the
town.
reason for the, I'm sorry, what was the reason for the clearing? Was it due to construction or they just
Um,
blow it out?
Yeah.
Overclearing?
It's overcleared. Most of the cases, people just overclear. During construction, after construction,
How large a lot is that?
that is a, property is,
21,000 square feet.
that's property, that's 21,000?
So it's a half acre.
It's a half acre.
Is that yours?
Yeah, this is mine.
Oh,
This is Anna Herman and consultants for the Carderas family. Yeah, it's 0.48 acres. There was a house there that they've had for quite some time. They did an addition on one side, then an addition on the other side. They put in a pool. They had to do some regrading in order to make the pool area flat. They had no idea they had clearing restrictions. So,
Yeah.
the neighborhoods developed, for a long
Yeah.
time. So, and they're putting in a very extensive revegetation plan. It's gonna be really nice once it's done. But
Maybe you can help educate people as to what an APOD means.
I
outdoor
try.
renovation.
Most people come to me after they've already
Ask
asked.
them. We're trying to change that.
Yeah, well, now it's
process.
in the computer. Before we had GIS,
Mhm.
it didn't pop up, so.
But people don't really understand the
They don't.
importance of it.
Oh, I know.
That we sit over our aquifer.
I know.
Yeah,
So I do try to educate people buying a
Good.
property,
good.
and when they start their project, but unfortunately, they came to me once they'd already
Yeah.
run into trouble.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think a little more of a
unfortunately,
skeptical
from
view.
my perspective is, we've got these smaller lots, and everybody wants a big house with a pool, and it just doesn't fit on the square footage.
Yeah. Well,
Like a vintage blind.
on the aquifer in spring. Okay, did
thank
we
you.
vote, we voted on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
So, Kate's out tonight, everybody else here?
I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
Motion to
motion to adjourn by Dennis, second by
Second.
Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.